former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
It's a Friday, and we're back in Memphis. July 22nd, 2022, and you're checking in with Sportstime on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. We've been at SEC Media Days the past 4 days, but we're now live from the Family Leisure Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. I am former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn on Twitter at G_Kuhn71, producing the program. And it's good to see him in the flesh again. Bryant Dacus on Twitter at Bryant_Dacus. Brian, how are you, man?
Gentlemen, welcome back. I'm sure y'all were happy to see that I didn't burn the place down while y'all were gone. So,
good job. Nothing was out of place. I mean, you kept it pristine
I didn't
for us.
walk into that in the room y'all were sitting in.
Okay.
Had no reason. So
yeah, I got you.
Probably a lot of things displaced over here, but not on y'all's side.
Understood. My partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He is Brett Stats Norsworthy on Twitter. At Brett Norsworthy.
Good to see you. Last time I saw you was about 1 o'clock last night or this morning or sometime like that.
You tired?
No, I'm ready to go on a Friday. Great night of sleep. Ready to roll on this Friday and get into the weekend.
Trip was fun, though.
Sure
Had
was.
a good time.
Tomorrow, 5 weeks from the start of college football for week 0.
Yeah, how about that?
Today's day 36. That? Tomorrow's 35. Nice. I like 5 weeks. It's got a better ring to it.
Yeah, I hear that.
Less than 2 weeks away from the Hall of Fame game.
So all of our texters, when we're talking about going down to SEC Media Days on our trip down there, driving, of course, we stopped at the Loves that I've heard so much about. That's always a good
Jasper.
time. Great time.
Walker County.
Everybody, every SEC team, every SEC team's represented. But our texter said, screw Loves, you got to try out Buc-ee's. So we did.
I've heard the Buc-ee's love, so we did at Leeds, hometown of Charles Barkley. And overrated.
Stop it.
I'm not going to go that far. I can't go that far. I will say this. It's not a pit stop. It's not a gas station. It is a full-on store. They have shopping carts.
Exactly.
I mean, it's cool though. Like
it's awesome.
I enjoyed it. I got a little cookie. I got some cookie dough bites and a brisket sandwich, and we
got a big
solid.
sack full of stuff, didn't we?
Yeah, you got some.
Well, I had sensory overload. Just grabbed the first roasted peanuts I could find and got the heck out of Dodge.
They had, as far as how many gas pumps did they have?
A ton.
50?
Hundreds.
And I had the Progressive commercial, old man comment. What did it cost to lay all this concrete? Like they're sweating the concrete at the Buc-ee's.
But, I mean, it's kind of funny because they have this sign out front where they're like, oh, hey, we're hiring, and they have, like, the list of how much you make per hour. I mean, they have people on the floor for merchandise, and they're paying them $30 an hour to be on the floor.
$371.
They have fitting rooms.
Oh, wow.
Giving it away at Buc-ee's at least.
Great.
They have. They
can't find that anywhere here.
I believe, and don't quote me on this, I thought they had fitting rooms for their
they
area.
Do. Yeah,
where you try on clothes. It's insane. Now, I will say the food. The brisket sandwich I heard a lot about. The chopped.
I didn't have any of their food when I went.
I was told the chopped is the way to go.
Roasted nerds.
It was fine, but people act like they got it from Central Barbecue or something like that. No. I mean, it's
a gas
solid.
station.
I just didn't get the epiphany. Some get it at Buc-ee's.
I think you're but also he called the Buc-ee's. Yeah.
The Buc-ee's.
He said he could just call it a gas station, Brett.
It's not
a gas station.
There's gas pumps outside
it's a
gas
station. Brian, you're right.
But that's ridiculous.
If you're on a road trip, which you were, so I'm surprised you're saying this.
But you're
exactly.
Going in. It's not a gas.
It's a pit stop.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, I didn't expect to go to Tavern.
I would way rather go into Buc-ee's than some smelly, rundown gas station that I usually go when I'm in the middle of nowhere.
I like those. I
like them just fine. But if I had to pick, I'd rather go into
the peeps in there.
Basically Walmart.
Brett likes the rotating hot dogs on the.
Ain't nothing better than that.
Yeah,
nothing better than that. You got
he stopped and got one at Love's.
I got a hot dog at the Love's.
All right, my final rating out of 10 though for Buc-ee's. I'm gonna go.
I have a Buc-ee's hat somewhere. I should have worn it today.
You know what's funny is
Taylor.
Taylor told
really?
me, she said I needed to buy merchandise at Buc-ee's.
Got to.
For her, so I got her a koozie.
And I'm telling you, I don't know where my Buc-ee's hat is now, but every time I used to wear it, I get people Buc-ee's. Yeah, you got it.
You're right.
You need to try it out.
You're great.
8 out of 10.
Okay, I like that. I'm fine with an 8.
I'm gonna go a gentleman.
The way you were
7.
talking about it made it sound like you're gonna give it like a 4.
And
really?
I'll give Love's about a 7 as well. But
it's more.
I felt more at home at Love's. I just did.
It's. I
I felt like Buc-ee's was almost like going
in good old Jasper.
Like going to an
somewhere.
amusement park at Buc-ee's.
almost like
Yeah,
going
no,
to
right.
somebody's
It
house.
is.
It's so nice, it's not livable. You know what I mean? You're scared to touch anything in it.
I
Yeah.
feel that.
It's more of an experience than it is
Exactly. It's an experience.
applicable to a long road trip, in my opinion. Like
Here it is.
I'm not
Here
going
it
to
is.
necessarily stop at Buc-ee's just to fill up and get going.
No.
Love.
I'd rather just stop at a gas
Yeah.
station and get going.
For me,
But heck, if it's
here's what it was.
$3.75,
Love's was that great golf course, club, whatever that you felt that I feel really comfortable being there for. Buc-ee's is that super elite place that I'm scared I'm going to do something wrong.
Okay. I give it an 8 out of 10, but here's the thing. I also have to give a caveat. I don't have to experience it again. I don't have to. Like, I don't.
But I will experience.
I will. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of Loves out there.
because it's the crossroads of the SEC.
But like Buc-ee's, I've done it, and I can say I've done it.
I drive by the Loves at Jasper. I swear I could go to Columbia, Missouri, and end up by the Loves at Jasper.
But the biggest
How the
thing
hell
is
does that happen?
The biggest thing is now I don't have to hear about how good Buc-ee's is. Now I know what it is.
Now you know.
Overrated.
Now I know what it is. I think Brett's going too far with it.
I think he's going a little too far.
A tad bit.
a little bit.
They have good hot food. Solid. And
Where was I
they have
coming
a
from when I
they have
was
a bunch of
Buc-ee's?
different types of hot food. I mean, it's
No,
not
they have a
just
lot.
barbecue.
I feel like I could get quiche there.
Probably could have. You should have asked.
And I don't want it. I want the hot dog, and I got
I
it
do
to
get a
Love's.
kick out of the people that were pushing around carts.
And
in
it
the
had a
place.
danger,
People
and I had a
pushing around carts.
dangerously large amount of mustard on that hot dog, and driving and talking with you.
Good thing we got to throw it out pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean it was radioactive, wasn't it? And I told you, I said, "Be careful, it's radioactive. It's coming in hot."
Oh, gosh. But, yeah, Buc-ee's experience was something. First off, our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. We have a bunch to get to. Tennessee notice of allegations from the Jeremy Pruitt days has been revealed. We'll get to that in just a
The
moment.
headlines scream. The body of the story,
Is lesser, but
we'll get to
such is common with a lot of notice of allegation stories, especially these days. 3:20, we get the top and not top story of the day. We have the SEC media poll dropping. We'll talk results and notes from
Shout
that.
out to Vandy voters. Who are you? Bruce Marshall got blamed
Reveal
for it a couple
yourself.
of years, and he was not. And Bruce was not there this year. He was at ACC. But South Carolina, who knew if they'd had a campaign manager there, they might have gotten more.
But Vandy getting one more vote than over half of the SEC is
As many
hilarious.
as A&M. What's the budgets? What's the collective at Vandy compared to the A&M collective?
That's pretty good. Do they reveal voters? Do they reveal voters, or do they just
The
keep it?
vote
it
is
anonymous?
private. But what shocks me, 180 voters, right? 181 total voters?
Yeah, something like that.
1,000 credentials, 800 handed out. 181 people voted?
Yeah,
I mean, where are you?
Should be more, yeah.
600?
yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, you could really skew the voting with a little bit of a rally campaign. Hey, vote for South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
You could really skew the voting. So how accurate is it?
We have some NFL to discuss later in the show. Rams get their Super Bowl rings. They are massive. And also, we're going to have to talk. I know Brett's going to be into this. Madden quarterback ratings. Tom Brady at the top.
Love John Madden.
Tom Brady at the top with a 97. It's going to be.
I've never seen this
He's going to
game,
be.
but I love John
I'm
Madden.
pretty sure he's going to be on the cover too.
Bam,
this year.
pow, whap. I loved how demonstrative he would be.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be on the cover this year. For,
TB12?
No, John Madden. I think they're going to have a Madden edition.
Yeah,
of it.
there's like a
Yeah.
special edition.
We have some Tiger basketball to discuss. We've been at SEC Media Day, so we haven't really gotten to fully get into the Alex Lomax stuff. Looks like he's out. There's been some Jonathan Lawson discussions that we'll have to talk about. There's also Peach Jam going on, and the Tigers, Penny Hardaway, Frank Haith have offered a player down there, a point guard. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Brian, what is the blowback out there on Twitter, social media to Alex Lomax? Any
I
bad?
haven't seen much.
I don't think he should be crushed.
I don't think anybody's crushing him.
Good.
I think the most I've seen is just people appreciative of his
Yeah,
time here. That's all I've really seen.
And, during the time, not as
I
appreciative,
think,
but after.
I think you'll see more because nothing official. He hasn't said anything official. Alex Lomax has. I think you'll see more people reacting to it once he makes an official announcement, other than just right now where it's being reported.
Yeah, but, and the reporting hasn't been
It hadn't been
full.
wide. No.
It hadn't been full yet.
Yeah.
But I think the major thought is that he's on his way out.
High hard one. What happens first? Kevin Durant to the Grizzlies or Bronny James to the Tigers?
Neither.
All right.
kidding.
Yeah. Well, we may or may not discuss that nonsense. I just
Do we know
I
he's
don't want
that
to do
good?
that. He's what? 52nd?
I watched him today. And I have all his stats over here from his week at Peak.
He was
Peach
25,
Jam.
10, and 5.
Number
Not
60
today.
arrival.
Yesterday. though.
Yesterday,
Which
he's a
that's
really
dime a
good
dozen.
passer. I was very surprised today when I saw his passing ability. He's a great passer, has great basketball IQ. His shooting today was really bad, but I don't think that's all the time. I think they're just too reliant on him down there at Peach Jam on the team at Strive for Greatness. I didn't get a great look
Do
at
we
him
know
today.
he's 6'2"?
But I also don't know how to analyze high school recruits, so I'll just be perfectly honest. What I saw is just
He's
Seeing
6'3".
it.
He's listed.
yeah,
at
he's a
6'3"
good
now.
size,
I've
6'3",
seen
6'4".
6'2".
Yeah, I mean he's around there. I think there's a lot of hype around him where there probably shouldn't be as
And
much hype.
I mean, he's
He's a good player, though.
He's LeBron
He's a fine
James.
player.
He's LeBron James' son.
I can
with
tell
the
you
same
who-
name.
I can tell you who's
I
better.
mean, of course, there's going to be hype, but
I
he's
can tell you who's better
52nd.
with
He's
the same
52nd nationally.
I think
on
he'll
247
go
Sports.
up a little bit after Peach Jam. I like
Edger
him.
James Jr. is better.
Is that right?
I've heard that.
Get in front of him taking a charge. See what you
Really.
got.
You think Edge? You think the apple doesn't fall far from the tree when it comes
Boy, his
to
dad was tough.
lowering the shoulder? Different
That guy-
sports.
That guy could bring it.
He was a great player. He was a great player. Outside of that, we'll get to that at around 4:30. Outside of that, we have some baseball to discuss, and Brett and I are we're gonna talk about Juan Soto and the pipe dream of
And
him
dream.
being a Cardinal.
Can we dream?
We have to.
No.
Yes.
Can't even dream.
No.
We can dream. We
No,
can dream
I won't
about
allow
it.
it.
But obviously, he turned down a 15-year, $440 million contract, and he wants out. Well, not wants out necessarily, but if they don't up that contract, looks like the Nationals are going to have to move off of him. We're gonna have
guess
the
it.
dream. I don't care, Brian.
I'm gonna guess it.
You
Me
can
and Jay
spoil it.
argued all night about
You
Juan
can
Soto
spoil it all
last
you
night.
want,
We
but-
argued for probably an hour about Juan Soto last night.
If 440 won't get him to stay in D.C., I'm betting 441 wouldn't either.
No.
So what do they got up it to?
5.
I think that's where you got to start.
Yeah, it's got to be 500. It's going to be $500 million.
Cardinals need him on the field. Cardinals are going to need him off the field going into the winter.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to need another ticket seller.
Mm-hmm. Now, AutoZone listener line is 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. We have a bunch to talk about today. Make sure you hit us up. Also, watch us live and message us on our socials, Sports56WHBQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and go to our website, sports56WHBQ.com. Now, the Tennessee notice of allegation drops today. 18. Yes, 18 level 1 allegations. That's unbelievable. They're charged with lack of institutional control. Really, the biggest note in regards to their 18 level 1 allegations was $60,000 worth of impermissible benefits and recruiting inducements to more than 24 recruits and their families over a 3-year period,
Peanuts.
provided by Jeremy Pruitt
And his wife.
It really does show, though, Brett. Self-reporting, trying to do the right thing, doesn't do anything for you.
Being cooperative.
It doesn't do anything for you. And
Imagine if you didn't. I know this. I know at Ole Miss, Ross Bjork was steadfast in we have to be compliant, we have to be cooperative, and we have to be really careful because it could endanger membership in the SEC,
Dang.
and you cannot have that happen.
with all these things, I think you look at the IARP case with Penny Hardaway. You look at this in particular, too. It doesn't seem like much, especially in the NIL era. It isn't much in the NIL
Ole
era.
Miss was compliant. Tigers were compliant.
And granted,
Tennessee's been compliant. What did it get any of them?
But granted, the payments coming from the coach in both these situations. Mm-hmm. But in the NIL era, $60,000, $13,500.
Gabe,
That's nothing.
in the old $100 handshake era, $60,000 over 3 years was nothing.
I can't believe.
1979, that was nothing.
And also,
Barry Switzer laughs at these allegations.
yep. And to your
Jimmy
point,
Johnson, $60,000.
and to your point about it, I brought it up as well. Not trying to do the right thing and self-report and do all these things. Tennessee paid $1.12 million to Bond, Schoeneck, and King to work the NCAA case. Get this. So they paid money, $1.12 million, self-reported, and still get slapped down with 18 level 1 allegations. It doesn't do anything for you.
I can't remember the original law firm, but Mike Slive was a member of it. That's kind of how he got into intercollegiate athletics. He was a member of a firm that represented everybody that got in trouble kind of in the 80s. back to those days and to now, you pay all that money to these big headhunter firms, you get nothing back for it. Mm-hmm. But what if you went out there just freelancing? We're going to have the university lawyer represent us.
Mm-hmm.
Lee Tyner at Ole Miss. We're going to have the university lawyer represent you, and we're not going to be adversarial, but we're not going to be as cooperative and compliant as we have been in the past and others have been, because it gets you nothing.
It's been proven time and time again. And also, sort of side note here, but it got Tennessee nothing. The 18 level 1 allegations. They haven't won anything worthwhile. They had to fire a coach. They weren't very good under Jeremy Pruitt. Now it looks like they're looking up for the first time in a while, and they get slapped with this.
It's so unfair. And now nationwide, you know what the word for Tennessee nationwide and intercollegiate sports? Cheater. And what did it get them? And it's so unfair to Tennessee, to Memphis, to Ole Miss, to Notre Dame. Notre Dame was as compliant as you can, cooperative and agreeable as you could be. They turned in stuff there's no way the NCAA would have found without them going, oh, yeah, and also this, and they got it. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame.
Yeah. The NCAA, the crux of the conversation, the NCAA doesn't care about compliance. They don't care about you complying with their
they like
action. They just want to slap you down, and they want to be that type of organization.
Because we can. We're us, and you're you, and you're under our rule.
I know a lot of, I look at Tennessee and like, okay, they did cheat, and it was coming. You saw it coming. I didn't think it would be 18, but
I like to use the
in
word
the end of the
broke
day,
rules.
just look at it, NCAA. And how they treat these situations. It's nasty every time. Real quick, before we get to top and not top story of the day, I have to tell you about our guest lineup. 3:30, bring on Matt Murschel from the Orlando Sentinel. We'll talk about ACC, AAC Media Days. We'll talk about SEC Media Days as well, and some takeaways there. 4 o'clock, we bring on Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet.
He was at ACC Media Days.
He was at ACC Media Days, and we also have some wagering to get to with him. Good baseball picks coming from Bruce. And then 5 o'clock, we bring on Greg Gasson, our regular, at this time. Well, not at this time, usually on a Thursday, but he'll join us to talk Tigers from the Tigers sideline and from Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in town. That is at 2600 Ridgeway, and they are online at lexusofmemphis.com. It's Lexus of Memphis. Give them a call at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Driving luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
That is the SEC media poll. The results are out. Alabama is picked by everybody as the SEC champion, 158-18
landslide
over Georgia. Which I honestly like. I look at that. I don't think the gap's that big.
Did we see how last year ended?
Right,
yeah.
But also Georgia, 15 players off in the NFL draft. I think we understand that. But
Georgia got the love. Alabama got the votes.
I really don't think that the gap's 158-18 big. I think Georgia can still have a good year. I did pick Alabama, but
they're going to play twice.
We'll see.
Get ready for it.
The Vandy first place vote is just hilarious to me. The South Carolina 3 votes.
I bet that person votes Green Party.
Don't y'all bet? We talked about South Carolina yesterday and how high I am on South Carolina. I don't think they're going to win the SEC, but looks like I'm not the only one that's high on South Carolina. In the East Division, Georgia at the top. Then Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida, South Carolina, Mizzou, Vandy. Western Division, Alabama. Then A&M coming in at second. Arkansas right behind. Ole Miss, LSU, Mississippi State, Auburn. The consensus pick as last in the West. Now, as far as the all-conference teams were concerned.
Arkansas got one West vote to win the West. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I think that's as nuts as Vandy to win it all.
But I like Arkansas's culture.
I
wouldn't pick them to beat Alabama, win over Alabama. Now, all conference teams. Just one note I have to make here, because we talk about Alabama and defensively they just weren't up to snuff last year. Bama had 20 selections on all conference teams, preseason all conference teams. Bryce Young leads the way, first team quarterback. But I have to highlight the defense. The entire defensive back group made all conference preseason, the list. All but 2 of the front 7 starters made the list when it came to all conference teams. Pete Golding, he better make it happen. The talent they have and the talent they have returning on this team is way too good to waste.
Well, he makes it happen in recruiting, but on the field, there's been a
It's
lot
been
of
lackluster.
questions. And fair, very fair, Gabe. It's been a lot of questions around Pete Golding. I don't see how, especially with today's news, Jeremy Pruitt ever coaches in college football. Again, many had thought that if Pete Golding ever fell just flat on his face, that Jeremy Pruitt would link back up with Coach Saban at his alma mater, Alabama. But especially with today's news, I don't see how Jeremy Pruitt ever coaches again in college football. My top story, after the All-Star break began yesterday and last night, 14 games tonight, everyone going this weekend. Big doubleheader sweep for the Astros over the Yankees yesterday. Now the Yankees head to Baltimore this weekend in a battle of budgets. If we think the A&M and the Vanderbilt collectives have a wide gap, how about the budgets between the O's and the Yankees? Now, the Yankees are going to make the World Series, and the only way the O's can will be with a wild card. Just 3 out of the final wild card spot tonight. I hope, and I think it will be, I hope Camden Yard's packed over these next 3 days for that series. At one time, and I've been to a lot of games in Baltimore at the old stadium, the Orioles fans viewed their biggest rival as being the Yankees.
Not top story of the day.
Now, I'm going to throw out a couple facts and ask a question at the end of this. My not top story of the day has to do with Rob Manfred and what he said about the minor leagues, and that's just part of the issue here. He was asked whether owners can't afford to pay minor leaguers or more, or are they simply choosing not to. He said, I kind of reject the premise of the question that minor leaguers are not paid a living wage. This year, for the first time, minor leaguers were mandated to have housing provided by the team. That was a good step in the right direction. But if you are not on the 40-man roster, you're paid between $4,800 and $14,700 annually, and he calls that a living wage. All the while this is going on, the MLB settled for $185 million in a class action lawsuit by minor leaguers who alleged minimum wage and overtime violations by teams. And while all this is happening, the TV viewership of the MLB All-Star Game was at an all-time low. First time it ever produced a viewership less than 8 million, and I enjoyed the game. I watched it. I thought it was a decent game. Here's the question. At what point do you, as the MLB, say enough is enough? He's a living, breathing PR nightmare. He doesn't seem to know the direction of the game. He's made bad decision after bad decision. Now he's running fans off. I truly do. When is enough enough? When do you move on for Rob Manfred?
I would love to hear somebody say, okay, there's a lot of negatives to big game Bobby Manfred. We understand that. But let me give you the positives. I want to see them. Name one. And okay, y'all don't see the great work he does with fill in the blank. Okay, produce it. Now, team values and profits are through the roof.
When are they going to go down?
I don't know how they would with anybody running.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But you could avoid a lot of other stuff that he brings with it. My not top story, an owner that we like to have a lot of fun with. Stan Kroenke had the Rams Super Bowl rings feature his $5 billion stadium. Wonder if if he'll work SoFi onto the Colorado Avalanche rings. Why not? His lasting legacy in the NFL will be that stadium. I think he cares more about that stadium than actually winning. Now, he got to do both last year, but when a stadium means more to you than the Lombardi Trophy, you think he really knows his players' names?
I know you made a joke about SoFi being on the ring. It's on the ring.
Oh, yeah.
It opens.
Oh, I know.
That's nice.
There it is, in all its glory. He cares about
He's a goon.
$5 billion, and I'd care about it too.
He's a goon. But that ring is insane, by the way.
It looks like an Easter egg.
It's too big.
I mean, would you ever wear it
to your Hall of Fame enshrinement?
I mean, would you wear it out to go to dinner with your wife?
No, absolutely not. You can't. You'd have to take it off to eat. It's huge.
You'd go around your big toe.
It's ridiculous. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. We are underway on a Friday. We go ahead and get to our first break. And when we come back, we talk with Matt Murschel of the Orlando Sentinel.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, We are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's time for another season of golf at Miramichi. You know the spot, 15 minutes north of downtown in Woodstock. I call it heaven. It's 330 acres of natural beauty, 7,400 yards of championship-level golf, but there are several different tee boxes which make it fun or competitive for every level of golf. And the practice facilities are as good as any country club, and every round of golf comes with a cart and complimentary range balls. You can really improve your game, and you'll love the prices too. Seniors can play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for as low as $33. Again, the golf cart and the range balls are thrown in. The standard weekday rates are as low as $44. Friday, it's $50, and on Sunday, it's $55. You'll love the view from the terrace. You look out and see the best view in all of Shelby County. The whole experience, it's just fantastic. Go check it out yourself at Miramichi.
It's time to get road trip ready, and we got it covered at Gossett Kia on the Pike. Let's get 41 MPG Highway in 2022 Kia Forte LSX, $199 a month. Pack some fun in 2023 Kia Soul LX, $248 a month. Both 36-month lease and $27.99 to its signing. And get 3 rows and 7 seats with 2022 Kia Sorento LX, $399. 36-month lease and $34.99 to its signing. And all Gossett Kias come equipped with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warrant. New adventures need a new ride. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
650 acquisition fee, 30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Forte NE 492,084, MSRP 21,065. Sold P 718,7730, MSRP 21,720. Sorrento NG 137,060, MSRP 32,595. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8/1/22. Dealer stock only.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Fiveash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Make the most of the open road with a 2022 Can-Am Spyder from Olive Branch Motorsports. This stylish 3-wheel touring motorcycle is the pinnacle of luxury touring with a modern look, premium comfort, extra storage, and next-level convenience. All designed so you and your passenger can put more distance between stops. The Can-Am Spyder is all about performance, comfort, and sophistication, giving you the ultimate riding experience. See the 2022 Can-Am Spyder today at Olive Branch Motorsports, 5656 Goodman Road.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Let me tell you what Melvin Toast is packing right here, all right?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Get it? Text a message, I don't know the number.
Back rolling. You are with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe, he's Stats, and joining us via the phone line is Matt Michelle from the Orlando Sentinel, covering national college football for them on Twitter at OS Matt Michelle. Matt, how are you?
Pretty good. How you guys doing today?
Doing well. It's media days time, so we really are. I mean, it always pops up on us quick, but we're getting very, very close to college football season.
The dance it's begun, Matt. We spent 4 days in Atlanta. Everybody's going either 11-1,
yeah,
10-2, or 9-3.
Yes, in July, everyone believes they're going to go 11-1. It isn't until about October when reality kind of smacks
new
in
math.
the face, and you realize that's right. But that's what makes
Sure
college
does.
football season so good is the fact that everyone comes in believing that they've got a chance, and we get a chance to see things kind of play out over the next couple months.
Even had one Vandy voter to win it all. I say if he or she's right, needs to be the new commissioner of college football.
Very much so, or bet on the Mega Millions, I guess.
And then we could stop talking trash about Clark Lee's comment the other day, right? Clark Lee said they're going to be the best program in college football. He would have been right at that point.
The Mega Millions, Matt. I'm glad you know the tote board.
Well, listen, I think Clark obviously understood. You want a coach who's behind your program, and
right.
You want someone who's going to say whether or not it's realistic or not. I mean, you want that coach to be out there saying we've got a chance. I think the time the coach says we got no chance, I think then you got to really worry about that. So I have no problem with those comments. It may have raised some eyebrows, but listen, I mean, you got to do what you can when you're at Vanderbilt and you're trying to build a program there.
Yeah, you're not going to say we suck and we have no chance. That's not going to keep you the job for long. Now, you had an interesting tweet today on today's sort of news drop around Tennessee and the notice of allegations. 18 different level 1 allegations they're facing. And you sort of put into question Danny White, Josh Heupel. You said that probably they knew it was going to come down. Do you think that they thought it would be as severe as what we saw today?
Well, I can't imagine, having dealt with Danny in the past. He's a very thorough person, and I can't imagine Danny didn't go in there with some sort of idea, exactly where he was going to, walk into. You don't take a job, even Josh Heupel to that point. You don't take a job without getting an idea of what you're going to walk into, and I think they always knew that there was that on the horizon. At some point, it was going to come down, and I'm sure that's why they've been working. They've been trying to help out as much as they can when it comes to the investigation with the NCAA, because they want to show that they're doing their due diligence, and they want to make sure that they can maybe hopefully that will impact how severe the penalty might be. So I think they both understood that. It's a lot to walk into when you look at the allegations. You look at what's going on. That is like walking into a buzzsaw. And I think anytime you're an AD and you're a head football coach, your biggest concern is how does this impact our program in the future? Especially, I know the NCAA is changing kind of how it's going to handle infractions, and they're going to try not to necessarily penalize the future teams for stuff that happened in the past, but you still have to be aware of what's going on. You have to be aware because you know if this is going to impact your recruiting. You don't know if this is going to impact how many scholarships you can offer, all those cases. So I think both had this idea. Whether or not they knew it was going to be this to this extent, I'm not 100% sure.
And the saddest thing about this for Tennessee is this is de facto the first round of punishment, because this will freeze recruiting. Now, everybody will recruit negatively against them. I wonder, he hadn't signed anything except for our NIL, but that's not binding. And we're going to have this eventually in the NIL world. Somebody's will renege on their deal. The hotshot quarterback is not bound to Tennessee until the December signing period. You wonder, Matt, I wonder if he will reopen recruiting.
I'm sure that's something to look at. I mean, again, I'm sure the idea is how soon will the NCAA actually come down and hand down some sort of
slowly.
It could take. The NCAA has never been known for being quick. They work at a glacial pace. So I don't necessarily believe it's going to happen within the next 2 years. So if you're a quarterback, it may even be 3 years. If you're a quarterback or a player coming in, your thought process may be, listen, I'm not going to be here 2 or 3 years to begin with. I'll be gone by the time this penalty maybe comes down. So I'm not really that concerned about it. If you felt like the NCAA was going to come down in 6 months and hand down some huge deal, then I think you might be a little more concerned by it. It may scare off some people, and there may be some people who say, "Listen, I'm done. I don't want to, I want to go somewhere else." But I don't necessarily feel that's going to be the case. I think what I'm interested in is how the NIL, how NIL impacts this. Because in the past, maybe players would have been scared about this. Now you've got NIL money. I'm not sure if a player's been offered a lot of money to come play somewhere, he might be like, listen, I'm still going to take the opportunity to get that money, depending on what happens in the next couple of years. Who knows? I can transfer anytime, anywhere now, and it's not going to penalize.
And it also shows, I think, when we're talking about compliance with the NCAA, Tennessee paid $1.12 million to a legal team to investigate this. So they paid money, still self-reported, and got 18 level 1 allegations. And nothing really won over time. In college football, with Jeremy Pruitt at the helm, they didn't win anything. So it's another example of compliance with the NCAA doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a smaller penalty.
No, it really doesn't. I think what it showed to me is, listen, it just shows how bad Jeremy Pruitt and his staff were. I mean, you go through the allegations and you see some of the stuff, and you're just, how did this happen? Because it's clearly, they were running rampant, and I think that's obviously the reason why they made the decision eventually to fire them and to clean house, and you bring in a guy like Danny White and Josh Heupel, and you hope that maybe you can kind of find a way to get through that. The sad part is a lot of the stuff that was going on in the notice of allegations. If you wait 2 years, guys, this is all NIL stuff. I mean, this is all what NIL. Most of this is NIL stuff. Most of these kids are getting cars and deals and things like that would have helped them pay for rent. So you necessarily wouldn't have, you would have leveraged your program's, history or future on the stake of paying some money to some players who eventually would have made that money in a couple of years.
And Tennessee has a really decent sized collective. Right this second.
Yeah.
So a lot of their players are sharing a lot of that revenue being generated by it.
Yeah, very much so. So again, in a way, that's the sad thing. If you think about this and all that's going on, you feel like you had the need to kind of get out there and recruit. And it wasn't like these recruits, as you mentioned earlier, it wasn't like Jeremy got recruits on the team and they end up winning a championship. I mean, it wasn't like that happened. So that's even worse. Now you leverage your future for the sake of getting some players that didn't even get you to that point. So again, I'm not sure if Jeremy Pruitt ever coaches football again at this point.
Matt Michelle, our guest college football writer for the Orlando Sentinel. Next week, the AAC, the conference the Memphis Tigers are in, they will have their media days. It will be virtual, all online. You will be watching and following. It is a brave new world right now for the AAC. This is the last year of, I think, this really good football conference.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think it's going to take some time for some of these other teams, to kind of get situated from the Conference USA move. I think there's going to be some teams. I think teams like UAB come in, and I think they can obviously play. They've done a really good job over the last couple of years, but I just think it's going to take a while. And you look at what the Sun Belt has done, with its expansion. I think they're going to be a force to be contend with when you talk about Group of 5 conferences. A lot of their schools are going to be that way. Boise State's going to be tough. Obviously, San Diego State's going to be tough in the Mountain West. I think this run the American has had might be challenged after this year. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. But on the flip side of that, I also think with Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF gone, this really opens the door for teams like Memphis and, for SMU, for Tulane. These open the door for these teams to kind of step up and become the premier team that leads this conference, because the door's wide open now, and there's going to be opportunities for that. And I think a lot of these teams are going to have that chip on their shoulder and want to prove that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I certainly think so. Now, in this iteration, coming up this year, the team at the top was Cincinnati. They were undefeated until they weren't. Last game of the year in the playoff, they end up losing. And now you deal with Desmond Ridder out the door, a lot of guys out the door for Cincinnati. And I know Luke Fickell's been fantastic there, and he has built a program that's sustainable, and they really do pull from fertile recruiting grounds there in Cincinnati and the state of Ohio in general. Do you think Cincinnati's going to rebound and be a sort of consensus top 20, top 15 team this year? Or do you think it'll be a massive, massive step back?
Well, I think they'll still be strong. I don't know if it'll be a step back, like a massive step back. I mean, we'll know right away in that first game against Arkansas, because Arkansas is a good team, and they'll challenge them for sure. But I think Luke Fickell's done a pretty good job recruiting wise, building in some talent there. I know they lose a lot. They brought in some players on transfer that they feel like can help them fill some of these holes and some of these gaps. So I think Cincinnati's going to have to, they want to make a good statement kind of as they get ready to head into the Big 12. So I think they've got some pieces there. But their schedule, again, Arkansas, Indiana, if they can get through the middle of October and survive, I mean, I think they're in a pretty good spot. I think UCF's going to be just right there, and I think Houston's going to be right there. Yep. So unfortunately for the Americans, the three schools that are probably going out the door right now are going to be their three best teams. And if your hope is that if someone goes to the New Year's Six game, Access Bowl game, and wins, that actually helps, add a little bit of revenue to the schools that are going to be left behind.
What are your thoughts on the Memphis Tigers and Ryan Silverfield?
I think that, like I said, Memphis has an opportunity. I mean, the thing about the schools that are not leaving next year, like Memphis, for instance, I think a lot of these teams are going to have a chip on their shoulder, and I think they're going to put the target on Cincinnati and UCF and Houston, and they're going to want to showcase, listen, we're just as good as these teams, and we should be considered if there's going to be more realignment somewhere around there. We should be there as well. I think you look at Memphis. I think Memphis does a pretty good job returning a lot of pieces of its offense. That's going to be good news for them. I know they got some big pieces on defense, but again, you look at that schedule to start out at Mississippi State. That's going to be a tough challenge for them. And then going to Navy and playing against Navy and that triple option is always going to be difficult. But the games against Houston, UCF, that's sort of the back end of the schedule. So maybe by then you kind of get things figured out. I think there's going to be some improvement. I think there has to be some improvement based on what they've done in the last couple of years. But again, I think this is a team that wants to prove itself to a lot of people and prove that it deserves to be considered one of the best in the conference.
And they certainly have that opportunity. And looking at the improvements at Liberty Stadium, they certainly are trying to put themselves in that power conversation. So if there is a break off, they could be part of that group. Our guest, Matt Michelle, from the Orlando Sentinel. Last thing for you, you covered a little bit of ACC Media Days, got to see what Jim Phillips had to say. It almost felt like Jim Phillips in his opening remarks, day in, day out there. It feels like it was a direct response to what Greg Sankey said about super conferences, about automatic qualifiers, about the future of playoff expansion.
Yeah, I think it was. I think a little bit it was. I mean, I think he wants to stay positive, obviously with his comments, but I think also you look around and you realize what's going on. You know that you've got, several members of your conference that are probably more than likely interested in making a move if the SEC were to expand. The Clemsons, the Florida States, North Carolina, maybe Miami. I mean, so you got to find a way to kind of quell those rumors or squash them for the idea that those people are thinking about leaving. So you've got to show that you're strong. I think he tried to do that. Talked about the grant of rights, which again I think is the only thing that's keeping this conference together right now is that grant of rights, because if it wasn't there, I think you'd see a lot more interest in schools wanting to leave. I think he knows he's got to try to convince everyone that Notre Dame if they could get Notre Dame to join in football, it would be huge for the ACC and help them out. And I think he said it best when he talked about they've got to find ways to generate more revenue. They understand that their current television contract, it's only going to do so much. They kind of invested in that with the idea of getting the ACC network. That's only going to do so much. Now they got to find other ways to generate revenue, and whether that's working out a deal with the Pac-12 or something like that. I mean, he's looking at all options on the table. So he had to be as positive as he can. He had to basically say, listen, we're all in these gated communities, but he understands those gated communities are slowly getting, the SEC, the Big Ten's gated community is a lot bigger and a lot fancier. It's up on the hill now, and ACC and Big 12 and Pac-12 are way down in the suburbs, so they got to figure out a way to get up there.
Okay, we know Notre Dame's the biggest free agent. We assume that Clemson's number 2. Who's number 3? Who's the one that would really move the needle? Notre Dame 1, Clemson 2. Who's 3?
I would say, man, that's a good question. I would say probably North Carolina or Miami. I know in my area, a lot of Florida State fans think they're in that. I don't think so, because I think North Carolina brings a lot of cachet. I think it would bring not only football but basketball as well, which has done good tradition there as well. So that
and the cover of academics to the ones that still matters to.
Yes, yeah, and I think that would be huge for them. Miami again brings you as a huge television market. It would really give you another presence. It would almost give you the whole state of Florida if you think about it. I mean, if you've got Florida and Miami, I mean that's the two. For the SEC, that would be almost the state of Florida. So Miami has a lot to offer as well. So there's a lot of attractive options, but I'm not sure, guys, if we're ready for a big now. I mean, Notre Dame's the big piece. If Notre Dame decides to stay independent and does this reported deal with NBC and gets its money, I think then we won't see a lot of movement, at least not from the SEC and the Big Ten and the ACC. I think that will kind of slow down a little bit. I think what's going to be interesting is the Big 12 and the Pac-12. And can they kind of find a way to kind of make that work?
Right.
Or does the Pac-12 find a way to keep itself solvent? I mean, that's going to be the big question moving forward. But I think Notre Dame, to me, right now is the big. They're in the driver's seat, and they seem to be fine with what they're doing, and they've loved independent. Listen, I grew up in South Bend. I know they fight tooth and nail to stay independent. They want to remain independent as long as they can.
He is Matt Murschel, national college football writer for the Orlando Sentinel. Great stuff as always, Matt. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Matt. Have a great weekend and enjoy next week. Following all the different media days next week, Big Ten also goes. Brett Northworthy here for FanDuel. Start after the All-Star portion of the baseball season the right way and turn K's into cash and big hits into big wins with FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can step up to the plate with a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Just sign up using promo code CASH, place that first bet, and FanDuel will give you up to $1,000 back in free bets if you don't win. A lot of things tonight. You can parlay these. I like the Mariners to make it 15 straight late tonight against the red-hot Astros. Shohei pitching in Atlanta to go over the strikeouts, and also Shohei to hit a home run. They're expecting almost a record crowd tonight in Atlanta at Truist to see that. So Mariners, Shohei showing out in Atlanta, pitching and hitting. Great promotions every day. Get paid fast, safe, and secure app. There's no better place to bet America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook, and that's at FanDuel. Use the promo code CASH to get started with your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
We have some NFL news to get to on the other side. We have some Madden ratings, top 10 quarterbacks overall. We'll discuss that, as well as Jimmy G. Jimmy G has been given the green light to seek a trade. We'll talk about what that market may look like next.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello. I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the little red tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
Hi, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering has been our specialty for more than 38 years. Corky's makes it easy for you to impress your guests at parties, family reunions, weddings, or just treating your hardworking employees to a great meal to say thank you. Let us do all the work. Come to your location, set up, and serve your hungry guests an all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet starting at only $8.99 per person.
Encore flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Hey, Jeff Allen, could things get any hotter in Memphis? Summer's here and I'm ready for a road trip.
Then come see me at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah, where the deals are hotter than the weather. 2022 Kia Forte LXS, $199 a month, and a 2023 Kia Soul LX, $248 a month. Both 36-month lease and $27.99 due at signing.
Hey, Jeff, I got to bring the family.
You need 3 rows and 7-passenger seating. 2022 Kia Sorento LX, $339, 36-month lease and $34.99 due at signing.
And your Kias are always equipped with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com. 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 per year, 26 excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Forte NE 492,084, MSRP 21,065. Sold P718,7730, MSRP 21,720. Sorrento NG 137,060, MSRP 32,595. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8/1/22. Dealer stock only.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
What we are dealing with here is a perfect machine. It's really a miracle of evolution.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Couple of texts, 901-360-8255 at the AutoZone listener line. Somebody tells us, growing up, we used to stop at Stuckey's, not Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is Stuckey's on steroids, they say.
Last night.
They say Buc-ee's and Stuckey's on steroids. During the
storm.
We were about to blow away.
It was old Stuckey's had a Stuckey sign, but under the banner of Sunoco.
Yeah, you're right.
Stuckey's were Arkansas people.
And then Ron comes in. Ron says Tennessee football is going to get the hammer dropped on them. It certainly seems that way. 18 allegations, level 1 allegations. Yep, no question about it. I tend to agree with that.
If somebody just said, "No, we're not. If we get invited to a bowl, we're going. We're not. We got TV deals. We're not complying."
And I've said this in the past. I don't know how much longer the NCAA has rule over football in this day and age. How much longer are they
part of it?
Yes. How much longer are they going to control it?
They resent college football because they don't run it except for penalties.
And they haven't made money on it since when? 1980? At least the championships.
Right.
That's So I can see that.
They hate the bowls.
We talked about the Rams getting their Super Bowl rings today. Just a little note on those.
Door stops.
20 carats worth of white diamonds on each. They believe that in the history of a sports championship rings, that's the most carat weight. That's something.
They
look, they're just bulbs. It's like a light bulb on your finger.
You know, in the ring world, most places there are tiers. There's the top tier, like the players, the owner, the coaches. They get those. And then there's a middle tier of a really, really, really nice ring. The assistant ticket director didn't get the ring, Aaron Donald.
No, of course not.
And then there's the third tier that's kind of the
little replica, basically.
Well, it's very nice, but it's not the one that Sean McVay got.
Yeah, they don't put 20 carats worth of white diamonds on every single one. I would go out on a limb and say
I don't know which one, but either the Maras or the Tishes. One of the
players get the 20 carats.
One of the owners of the Giants. They even went an extra tier for like Mrs. It was the Maras for the matriarch of the family, Mrs. Mara. It was
interesting.
Her ring was better than everybody else's.
Interesting. Now, Madden ratings also came out today. Top 10 quarterbacks overall. This is interesting. Let's start at 10. Matthew Stafford with an 85. Lamar Jackson with 87. And then they're obviously 10 to 15, the Mac Joneses of the world, Kirk Cousins. Lamar Jackson was an 87 at 9. Russell Wilson tied at an 87 at 8. Justin Herbert is behind Dak Prescott at 7. And with an 88, Dak Prescott gets an 89. And then the top 5 go Joe Burrow at 5, Josh Allen 4, Patrick Mahomes 3, Aaron Rodgers 2, and, of course, the GOAT, Tom Brady, with a 97 at the top. I
thought
look
he
at
should have
this.
been MVP last year over Rodgers.
I'm not going to complain about it, but I don't think that.
I'm not going to fight about it.
I don't think Tom.
I'm not fighting about anything today.
I
can't even put the Dukes up.
I think the MVP should get the lean over the guy who didn't win.
Or a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, or a Super Bowl champion.
Or Patrick Mahomes.
I don't think Matthew Stafford's a better quarterback than Tom Brady, though. Right?
I thought he was comparable last year.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But Tom Brady, for those that don't know,
but certainly not all time.
That was the most passing yards he ever threw for in a single season last year.
5,300 was great.
So,
but when you start talking all time, it just nukes everything.
Right.
And he's still married to Gisele Bundchen.
Now, do you think they added one for that?
Why not?
Awareness. He gets awareness a little higher. His awareness
like
rating.
carbon credits. It should matter for something.
Yeah. +1 for being married to Gisele. Also on the quarterback front, Jimmy G, his agents have been given the green light to seek a trade. He's been cleared to start practicing too. Are there any teams that are willing to acquire him and take on $24.2 million worth of salary?
Do we know Bronny's that good, and do we know Jimmy G can throw the ball?
No, we don't. He hadn't been fully cleared.
This.
That's true, but I guess the Seahawks, Browns, Giants, Texans could be involved in this conversation. And I'd say namely the Seahawks because they need a starting quarterback that's not named Drew Lock. But 24.2 salary is a lot to absorb. But we saw Baker get moved, and the Browns found a way to make that happen. That is what it is. That'll be it for hour number 1. Hour number 2 is on the way. We have some Tiger basketball to discuss with A-Lo out. We have some baseball to discuss. We're going to try to figure out the pipe dream of Juan Soto to the Cardinals. But coming up next, we bring on Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. Have you been turned down by your homeowner's insurance in the past 12 months for damage you believe you're owed? Call Brian Elder Roofing now. Our professionals will do a no-obligation, thorough evaluation of your property and document all damage we find. Our fully certified Hague inspectors are trained to identify storm damage to assess and build a full estimate in a language your carrier will understand. If there is no damage found, we will tell you just that. We build a data file of your actual storm damage for your carrier, all at no cost to you, free. So call now for your comprehensive roof guarantee from Brian Elder Roofing. Call us, 867-0303. That's 867-0303. Or schedule online at brianelderroofing.com. Because if you think it's a claim, we'll help you show it's a claim.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
It's time to take it on at Gossett Mitsubishi's summer sales event. You need a new ride? We Gossett covered. Don't fret about gas mileage on your summer vacation. Get 39 MPG combined with 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage, $219 a month or $17,015. Take sporty to a new level with 2023 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. 28 MPG combined, $349 a month or buy for $27,335. Plus, 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, 7 seats, $409 a month or $31,795. And get peace of mind with our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
75 months at 3.69. Mirage NH00 6956, MSRP 17515. Eclipse PZ 00747, MSRP 28085. Outlander NZO 78023, MSRP 32295. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax filing license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8122. Dealer stock only.
First National Bank and Trust, with its roots in eastern Arkansas as a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, now firmly in West Tennessee. Eastern Arkansas's largest independently owned bank, now in West Tennessee. First National Bank and Trust, with offices at 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, 901-498-5763, and in Collierville. First National Bank and Trust focuses on their clients in the Mid-South with all their banking needs: personal banking, business banking, and online banking, and the mobile app. Courage and confidence has been displayed by First National Bank and Trust officers throughout its history. In good times and in challenging times, First National Bank and Trust has been recognized as one of the most progressive banking institutions in the country. Commercial, residential, recreational, customers depend on First National Bank and Trust because they know real estate. 901-498-5763, and contact Brooks Winchester or any member of the First National Bank and Trust team.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
How do you want that cooked? Burnt to a crisp or bloody as hell?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Hour 2 is here on a Friday. Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats is what you're listening to right now. I'm Gabe. He's Stats. Producing the program is Bryant Dacus in the control room. And joining us, as he normally does on a Friday at 4 o'clock, is Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet. Bruce, how are you?
Hey, pretty good there, Gabe.
Where are you at in the world?
California, believe it or not.
Nice, okay. I got
It's been a roundabout week in Florida to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, then to Charlotte for the ACC in California. So that's where
how was Cooperstown? Did it live up to it?
More than lived up to it.
Nice.
I mean, it was the nicest Hall of Fame, and not disparaging the other Hall of Fames, but I mean, this one was really, really neat. The history part of it. I mean, they did it just right. Not a lot of interactive stuff. But everything was so perfect, and it's induction week, so there's a little bit of extra pomp there because the guys are going in this weekend.
Big Papi,
but Big Papi's going in. Jim Cott, Tony Oliva, Minnie Minoso, Gil Hodges, who I thought
love it.
I thought had been in years ago, and he's been gone for 50 years, but I thought he had been inducted. And so it's really neat. It's the little hamlet of Cooperstown, though, is really the cute thing. It's all little shops and things with baseball themed. It's like a little baseball wonder, like a pop-up town for baseball, and then the Hall of Fame is there. So it is highly recommended. And when I was in Charlotte, I did the NASCAR the other day just to compare, which is actually pretty nice. It's very modern, but there's Cooperstown is by itself, I think.
Bruce, I've been told that Cooperstown, that you just don't stumble onto it. You got to want to get to Cooperstown, that it's hard to get to.
Man, that is so much the truth, Brett. Google Maps took me on this route to get there from Albany. So I flew up there on a Monday morning, which I was delayed, and I was all worried getting there. And I was through every back road and changing 2-lane roads.
Rerouting.
Rerouted, and all of a sudden you're there. There's a more direct route. There's a little bit of traffic, so that's why the maps took me
Not
a different
easy to
way.
get
But
to
you gotta
Albany,
work
though,
it.
is it, Bruce?
What's that?
Not easy to get to Albany, is it?
Well, you can fly. I flew there straight from Orlando.
Oh,
They had a
really?
flight.
Wow.
Yeah. So Albany's got an okay airport there. Not a lot of flights, but I was fortunate to get a nonstop out of Orlando up there.
Have you been to the capital of New York in Albany?
I went by it. It looks like an old hotel. I mean, it doesn't look like your traditional Capitol building.
Insert joke here with their governors the last 4 or 5 the stretch they've been on.
No, that's right. And I was looking for Governor Hochul if I could give her a piece of my mind. But that's neither here nor there. But it looks like a grand old hotel, and Albany is like, it's kind of neat, and it's a little bit bigger version of Harrisburg. I didn't spend a lot of time in Albany. I just went to look at the Capitol. But the drive to Cooperstown's about an hour and a half from there, so it's really not that bad.
What was your single favorite memento, designation, plaque, bust? What was the favorite thing at Cooperstown? Something
in the Cardinals exhibit.
Okay.
They had the baseball that Larry Jaster used to finish his 5th shutout of the Dodgers in 1966.
Bruce, I would have bet significant money today Larry Jaster wouldn't be mentioned.
So I'm not saying in the Dodger hate category, that was really good.
You got it.
But I mean, that's the sort of stuff. I mean, the Babe Ruth exhibit was great. All each decade, had stuff. They had stuff on the old stadiums, and it's very good. I will say this though. Baseball's got that one the Cardinals have at Busch Stadium is really neat.
Sure is.
And that's Cardinal specific, and the one the Reds have up at their ballpark.
It sure is. I've been to that one.
Great. So they're both great. Baseball seems to do it sort of lends itself to Halls of Fame, and a little bit more. Canton's nice too, but there's a little bit more history in baseball, and it really does it well.
Bruce, it saddens me that baseball's past is so much better than its current.
Yeah. You get that feeling, because it's got such a long history, and some of the stuff they're doing is changing some of the, some of the organics of baseball. I had joked to people a few weeks ago that every day I wake up afraid that Rob Manfred's going to do something like eliminate extra innings and have a home run derby to determine extra inning games. Little did I know he ended up doing that for the All-Star game. So I hope he doesn't get.
And it's so on the fly. And one of the real big things in the baseball, the commissioners under his rubric is best interest of the game. He could do anything. He could change instead of 3 strikes, 4 strikes.
Yeah. Oh, he could, and he's talking about doing. And he might do an automated ball strike count, like make that all automated. And I think you don't want to take the human element out of it too much. I really fear what Manfred could end up doing.
Right.
And so like I said, we didn't see the extra inning thing on Tuesday night, but I'll be darned. I think there's a chance that's something that he might think he can implement for every game. I mean, like the NHL does that gimmick in the regular. NHL at least doesn't do that shootout thing in the.
There's a dangerous man at the levers of power of baseball.
And I brought this up off the top of the show when it comes to the minor league nightmare he's going through right now and the PR nightmares he creates weekly, and the All-Star game, which I told Brett I thought was a decent game. Like I didn't have an issue with it, and I thought it was fine, at least watching it on TV. But it's the lowest viewership ever. Like, at what point do you say enough is enough with Rob Manfred, and how would they go about getting him out of that seat and getting someone else in it?
Well, I'm not sure the terms of his deal, but if the owners decide they want to go a different direction, they would. I think part of the problem with the All-Star game is they've hyped things like the home run derby as like being a bigger deal than the All-Star game. I mean, that sort of bothers me. I don't like the thing you did with the uniforms. I think this is 2 years in a row now.
Right.
Let the teams wear their own uniforms. I mean, that was what always
First
was
thing I
unique
noticed,
about
to be honest.
baseball. Wear their own uniforms in it. And he's done this thing where they all got the same uniforms, just with a different script. So he's encroaching upon too much of the history of it, and I don't like it. But I'm not sure the owners see it that way, but I think they're the ones who would do it. I mean, Manfred works for them, so if enough of them say enough's enough, but I'm not sure enough of them are that mad yet. We'll see.
Bruce, there was a time in the Cardinal organization they thought Larry Jaster was going to be Warren Spahn. He didn't. He didn't become that.
Yeah, and that was his rookie year in '66 too. He never did much, but he is after that. But he is in Dodger hater lore. That is for sure as a star, and 5 complete game shutouts of the same team. You will never see that again. We talk about records, DiMaggio's hit streak and all. I think Jaster's thing against the Dodgers in '66 will never be touched either.
Our guest, Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet, really worldwide Bruce Marshall. He was in Charlotte for ACC Media Days, and did you catch Jim Phillips' remarks, his opening remarks?
I did, and I'll as a qualifier, I'll say I like Phillips a lot. I think he's a really quality guy, really, and he's got the best interests of college sports at heart. And I think he was a good choice, and I think the same about Sankey too. I think Sankey's a good guy, and I think Phillips is too. Whether he's up to the task or anybody's up to the task, which the ACC is looking at now, I'm not sure. He offered some interesting insights. He's thinking about all that's going on. He's not a dummy, and as far as he would go, is saying that everything is on the table, whether it be expansion or some sort of reallocation of the way the distribution formula works, which I think he's going to have to address sooner rather than later. The expansion thing, got to remember though, and he reminded everybody of this, you don't just expand for expansion's sake. I mean, you have to make the pie big enough so each of the shares is going to get bigger. And so that's why you don't just add willy-nilly like that. You've got to make it just right. Now, he's got to worry about teams leaving his conference. A lot of talk about the media rights deal, which goes through 2036, which he indicates that sort of locks these teams in. But I do know from talking to other people there, Clemson and North Carolina and Miami and Florida State have all sent lawyers to Greensboro to look at this media rights deal and see how ironclad it is and what it would take to get out of it if need be. They wouldn't want to do what Maryland did and end up costing about $40 million when all is said and done. And Phillips made this comparison to Oklahoma and Texas and SC and UCLA, and he said, yeah, now look at those schools. They are honoring their media rights commitments. But somebody reminded him, Commish, they're looking at a couple of years in each of those before they can escape. You're talking about 14 years in the ACC. You can't compare what Clemson and Miami are looking at to what USC and UCLA and Texas and Oklahoma were doing. So, but he's thinking about all that. And the one other thing that I thought was interesting was and I mentioned this to you guys before, the vote to expand the college playoff. Now, that happened a few months back, and they needed a unanimous vote. So one of all the 10 commissioners and Notre Dame, if it was a 10-1 vote, that would scuttle the change in the current contract to expand the playoff. Phillips was one of the three, along with Warren from the Big Ten and Klavikoff from the Pac-12, who said no. I thought that was pretty short-sighted, but I'm not sure how much Phillips could have done to change things. If Warren votes no, the whole thing's down the tube anyway. But Phillips did say he's in favor of an expanded playoff. And he said he thinks that's going to happen. And he thinks it has to happen. At the same time, he voted no to expand. His explanation was he didn't think this was well thought out enough, which I sort of see, except the three of us could come up with something in about 2 days, if not that long, that would work. So it was sort of a weak response. But they're in a little pickle right now, and they're just kind of hanging on this the media rights deal that they think it keeps this thing intact. But I can sense they're worried that somebody's going to challenge that in court, and that's where this would go.
Bruce, on the field, who's a back of the pack ACC team to really look out for?
There's a bunch in the Atlantic Division. I got to get my divisions right there because this is the division with all the quarterbacks. And if you can keep Leary healthy at NC State, NC State won 10 games last year, so I'm not sure much of a sneak up that would be. Boston College is kind of interesting.
I have them circled.
Yeah, and if Jurkovich can stay healthy, I think Boston College is kind of interesting there. Wake Forest has got Hartman back at quarterback. He could put up some Star Wars numbers. Clawson has established himself as a star coach, so I would definitely watch them. And of course, the buzz is about Miami too. I don't know about Cristobal yet. I think the jury's out on that hire and all the stuff they're doing at Miami. I'm not sure I'm sold yet, but I thought they made progress under Manny last year. I don't know that he should have been fired, truthfully. And Tyler Van Dyke, I think, might be a top 5 NFL pick at quarterback if he comes out. I think he's that good. So Miami's got a little bit easier road to go, and it's half the ACC. That's not the Clemson half, and Wake Forest and NC State are on the other side too. So Miami's got a clear shot, and with Pitt rebuilding a little bit too, Cristobal, he won't have any excuse if they don't get in the championship game for the conference this year.
So Pitt won last year. Pitt won the ACC last year, and obviously Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison the massive reasons why that was the case. But they have Keaton Slovis in there, and I thought he showed promise at USC. You think Pitt can actually put themselves back up there in that conversation again this year?
Yes, I would think so. I mean, Slovis last year, they were talking about him as a possible Heisman candidate. Now here he is at Pitt. The Addison thing really was a shot to the solar plexus for Pitt. I don't think they were expecting that to happen. And Addison has now, I think, become the poster child for nil and its ills. And by the way, that was, of course, a very big topic of discussion, was NIL. And like we've said before, the toothpaste is out of the tube there. I'm not sure what they can do to put it back in. Addison is the poster child for that. But having said that, Narduzzi, I think, has established himself as a significant force in the ACC as a coach. And he made some interesting comments before the conference on a Pitt podcast there that he thought they would have beat Michigan State by 21 points if they had Pickett and then the backup quarterback got hurt. He said, even if he's in there, we win that game by 14. So I kind of like his chip on his shoulder. He's kind of pugnacious. The best thing is, though, Pitt is playing West Virginia in the opener, the old backyard brawl. And I happened to ask Narduzzi if that's just a home and home or a longer-term thing. He said, no. He said, we got this 8 of the next 11 years. Great. So that's kind of good to rekindle that, which was a great regional rivalry there. The schools are only about 60 miles apart.
Any way to get Pitt and Penn State back?
Yes, that's one we got to do. They've done a couple home and homes in the last 20 years in that, but that was a fixture. And that's the other thing. People forget the East. There was the days even before the Big East. Those schools all played each other, and there might not have been an official league, bind and collection there of a group, but they all played. Pitt, Penn State, Syracuse, West Virginia, Navy, Boston College. I mean, it was an unofficial league then. So as many of those we can get back in the future, I like. But Pitt, West Virginia coming back, that's a major rivalry there. So the fans are certainly excited, as they should be.
Bruce, I've never been to an SEC Media Days get-together where the Big Ten had been so much on the SEC collective brain. There was more Big Ten conversation, and a lot of it because of the USC-UCLA move. But the Big Ten is very much on the SEC's mind. I see some people out there wanting to compare or make almost the equivalency of the two leagues. There's not one top to bottom. Ohio State's personnel and Ohio State's winning, it's been up there. It's prominent. But bottom up, top down, any way you want to gauge it, there's no equivalency between the Big Ten and SEC, is it?
I think you're right. I don't think there is. That's on the field, though. But in the TV deal, you bet there is.
Great point.
I mean, the Big Ten network is the big boy here, and the SEC's close to it. But, I mean, that's what the SEC is worried about, I think, if they're worried about anything, is what's the Big Ten going to do next? Are they going to try to encroach some? I mean, there's talk. Like we've said before, I think they're going to wait for Notre Dame to see what's going on, and we're hearing Notre Dame is making inquiries to the NBC when that deal ends after 2025, what they're going to do. And where Notre Dame lands is going to be big. But, I mean, there's rumors the Big Ten could go into, if not pulling anybody out of the SEC, North Carolina, Miami maybe, stretch that TV footprint a little bit further. Clemson, if these schools can extract themselves from the ACC. So it's all about TV, and that's where the Big Ten is the threat right now, and I think that's what they're mostly worried about in the SEC.
So one thing I've been seeing too, and we're talking about NIL, we talk about conference realignment, all these things. There's so many different discussions to be had around college football, but I just saw this from Nicole Auerbach this morning. Division I Council is recommending that the NCAA get rid of the one-time part of its transfer rule, so anyone would be able to transfer and have immediate eligibility as long as they meet academic standards. I guess my question there is, why would they think that would be applicable in this moment?
Well, lawsuits they're afraid of because the way it stands right now, and as far as I know, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know one player who has asked for a waiver who is making that second transfer, because you're only supposed to get one of those free ones like that without sitting out a year. I don't know one of those that's been denied yet. Because they're supposed to have to ask for a waiver. And this
DeAndre Williams took a while here in Memphis, with Memphis basketball, but
there's
eventually
been
got
delays, of course.
Yeah, they get delayed, but I think that it's all to do with they're worried about potential lawsuits right now. The NC2A simply cannot handle any more of that.
Because if I transfer from school A to school B in the accounting department division, I'm not punished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we've been saying. I mean, these college players are going to have more flexibility than the pros.
Yeah,
and more mobility, and that's that might be the biggest change of all this stuff. On top of the nil, I mean, there's been a lot of earth-shaking changes in the last year and a half or two, and this is just another one. And total free transfers. I mean, it's going to come, but I think it's a fear of lawsuits and legal action, and that means a lot to the NCAA because they can't afford it now.
Yeah, I just look at it from my perspective. I don't know if it's the greatest thing for the athlete in general. I know it looks on paper as the greatest thing for the athlete, freedom of movement, but I do think an athlete in any walk of life going from school to school to school every single year, I don't know what that does in the way of the academic support they're getting, how they're actually doing on the field. It's not good for you to continually be in a different situation year after year.
That really resonates from you. And here's a good example here in Memphis. Jeremiah Martin, in his freshman year at Memphis Tiger basketball, I think scored 73 points.
Right.
You could get really disillusioned and get out of town somewhere else and then not end up being almost legendary status that he achieved.
Yeah. I even see it from the college athlete perspective, and I'm not saying I want people to be punished for transferring. I don't want that to happen. I want there to be freedom of movement, but I don't. It looks good for the athlete. I don't know if in application it will be good for the athlete.
I agree with you, and for the health of the sport, you throw nil in there too. I mean, I mean, the guardrails on this are down now, so I mean, you could go out and do what SC did with Jordan Addison. You know, we're going to give you
Charlie Moore, 4 schools.
Yeah, Charlie Moore, Miami point guard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's others in college hoops. I mean, there's a kid, the kid from Wyoming, A&M Williams. He's at USF this year. He got his waiver grant. That's 3 schools in 3 years for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
3 and counting.
And he's going to break. He could have gone 5 in 5 years, maybe.
But his letter jacket closet looks good.
Yes, that's right. But I think Gabe. I mean, it's 95% of the cases. It's not going to be beneficial for the athlete. But this is just the way it's going. I think we just got to live with it like that now.
It is. Last thing for you, Bruce. Know you have some MLB plays either tonight or over the weekend. What do you like?
A couple. I mean, it's crazy. I'm recommending Oakland again. I might have done that a couple times lately. They haven't been playing that bad the last few weeks. Cole Irvin has been pitching really good at home. He's got a 1.68 ERA. Texas with that 1-game series with Miami, then they had to fly out to Oakland. Irvin's been really good at home, so I think you get a slight plus price with him tonight. That might be worth a look. The Angels and Braves. Shohei against Morton. That might be the pitching matchup of the night. I haven't seen this since Steve Carlton and the 72 Phillies. The Angels have won Shohei's last 5 starts. They have lost 36 of the other 43 games in which he hasn't, not included in that 5. They've been going so bad. However, Morton's been pitching very well. The total's at 7. You might see 7.5. This game's going to be like a 2-1, 3-1 game. So I'd look under in that one. And one more. Maybe Kyle Gibson and the Phillies. Gibson's pitched really well lately. The Phillies have been playing really well. Maybe on the run line against the Cubs, who are going nowhere fast, or looking to sell guys at the deadline. The Phillies, I mean, let's see if this is going to continue a little bit for them. And maybe on the run line against the Cubs.
And where do we find more of this and you?
Yeah, thanks, Gabe. Check us out online, goldsheet.com. We got baseball picks. And I guess in a few weeks we got NFL preseason, but that's coming.
Less than
for
2
now,
weeks.
Lots of baseball.
Less than 2 weeks to the Hall of Fame game in Canton. Bruce, help me real quick. Steve Carlton won 27 of 59 for the Phillies in 72.
That is correct, sir. That was the greatest. This is the 50-year anniversary, and that's the greatest achievement of my lifetime. Otherwise, those are like the 62 Mets without Carlton. So that still stands for me.
And we were getting buyer's remorse that year in Cardinal country that, oh no, Rick Wise is not going to be able to be this.
Rick Wise for Carlton. Absolutely.
Thank you, Bruce Marshall. Have a great weekend and good luck.
Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, you too, guys.
Thank you very much. Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet with us every Friday. And we're getting closer and closer to football picks on Friday from Bruce. I know we can get close to Olive Branch. We can head down Highway 78 to All-Star Chevrolet and get in the middle of all the incredible pre-owned trucks and SUVs they have on their lot at All-Star. There are some nice Ram trucks. They have Laramies, Bighorns, look like they've barely been driven, Jeeps, Grand Caravans, and an Audi Q7. If you want any pre-owned Silverado or certified pre-owned Silverado, get to All-Star. Seriously, Jeff and Kevin, they've been right on the money getting all these, and they're down in Olive Branch. Crew cabs, double cabs, high country, some nice Tahoes as well. Kevin and Jeff asked me to give a big shout-out to all of you who chose All-Star as the go-to place to sell your vehicle. So many on sale today at All-Star Chevrolet. If you want to sell any vehicle, bring it to Olive Branch and get a check today, even if you owe money on it. You don't have to buy a thing. You can pre-order any new Chevy you want right there at All-Star, right off Kraft Goodman Road, first exit into Mississippi. Remember, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, not Mount Moriah, not Bartlett, not Collierville. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Now, we have to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back from that break, we're going to switch gears, and we have some Tiger basketball to discuss, some off-season news. ALO looking to be on the way out. What does this mean for Jonathan Lawson? He's been on the roster, obviously redshirted last year, and also Peach Jam is going on. Frank Haith and Penny Hardaway are there at the moment. We'll be right back on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
You have opinions?
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
Of course you do. Everyone does. Hit us up on the AutoZone listener line, 360-8255, 360-8255.
Hey, Jeff Allen, could things get any hotter in Memphis? Summer's here and I'm ready for a road trip.
Then come see me at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah, where the deals are hotter than the weather. 2022 Kia Forte LXS, $199 a month, and a 2023 Kia Soul LX, $248 a month. Both 36-month lease and $27.99 due at signing.
Hey, Jeff, I got to bring the family.
You need 3 rows and 7-passenger seating. 2022 Kia Sorento LX, $339, 36-month lease and $34.99 due at signing.
And your Kias are always equipped with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com. 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 per year, 26 excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Forte NE 492,084, MSRP 21,065. Sold P718,7730, MSRP 21,720. Sorrento NG 137,060, MSRP 32,595. Include all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8/1/22. Dealer stock only.
In the alley since 1948, the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see everything kind of getting back to normal.
Brett, we've done a lot of ads before, but maybe it's time for me to do a recap. We have valet parking at the end of our alley on Monroe. On Fridays and Saturdays, we give away our wonderful red beans and rice until it runs out. And you know we like to do things local. Miss Barbara Jackson of O Taste and See has been making these wonderful chess and pecan pies, that's pecan, not pecan, and key lime pies for dessert. And we just started serving this wonderful gelato from Sweet Magnolia Gelato Company. And just to remind everybody, you don't eat cheese and sausage with a knife and fork. You take a cracker, you put sausage on it, you put a piece of cheese on it, a little mustard or a little sauce, take a bite and chase it with the pickle. Brett, we've always been the place for all gatherings, whether they're corporate, rehearsal dinners, retirement parties, birthday parties, whatever. We seat anywhere from 20 people to 250 people. And oh, by the way, we are now open for lunch from 11 o'clock on Tuesday through Saturday. Come see us at the Rendezvous.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. As we all know, Memphis can be a hotbed for severe weather, and that weather can play havoc on our roofs. Most people don't know what they should do first when they're concerned about the condition of their roof. Call their insurance company, call a contractor, or trust a door-to-door salesman that's making claims that are hard to believe. My advice would be call the contractor that you know and trust. If you don't know any, research your local contractors and give 2 or 3 a call. I hope your research will lead you to us. Have your roof inspected, decide for yourself what you should do and whether or not you should file a claim with your insurance company. It's your home, it's your policy, and it's your money. Don't let anyone pressure you into anything. If you give Five Ash Roofing a call, we promise personal service with a member of our family with no pressure and no hype. Five Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Golf
golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with all the hottest brands in golf at the best prices, featuring tailor-made stealth carbon woods and irons. Callaway's Rogue ST collection of woods and irons, Titleist's T-Series irons and Vokey wedges, and Ping's G425 woods and irons. All this and more at Edwin Watts Golf Shops. Swing by and receive a free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
At Vanelli's Deli, new summer menu items: roast beef sandwich, Italian chef salad, or my favorite is the chicken breast salad, gigantic bowl of lettuce, black olives, grated cheese, sliced mushrooms, green peppers, diced chicken breast, with ranch dressing, yum. And ask about Vanelli's Deli catering, family or corporate. Call today and ask for Charles at 901-754-2246.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
I think this is the best chicken I ever had.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats on a Friday. I'm Gabe. He is Stats. AutoZone listener line is 901-360-8255. Getting this on AutoZone. You want to text us questions, comments, concerns. We're going to talk about some Memphis basketball upcoming. Know a lot of people want to chime in on that. And especially with the offseason that Penny Hardaway and crew
who's got brawny fever.
Also, if you want to watch us live and message us on socials, Sports 56 WHBQ, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch.
Who's got young DeJuan Wagner fever? That's the one we should have the fever.
Kentucky and Louisville.
Brett, I laugh because that's.
I bet I know where he goes.
I laugh because the brawny. Penny and Frank Haith show up to Bronny's game. Is there a connection? I think that's silly.
I do too, Gabe, because we're also being told in the next dialogue that Penny's moving away from that he wants more seasoned players, that he doesn't want the phenom, the 5-star, and he's not even a 5-star at a high school.
And LeBron and Penny know each other.
He's a 4. I think he
four-star.
will be by the end of his recruiting period.
He's the 52nd ranked player in the 2023
He's about
class.
to shoot up though. He'll be a top 30.
And I'm not trying to trash Bronny, but yesterday 25 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists at Peach Jam, and he's been solid, and he's been growing
really
and getting better.
All right,
but the Penny Frank Haith, Bronny connection. I know that Penny and LeBron know each other. I know that whole
Penny
it's there, but
all of them is so overdone.
That does not mean that he's going to end up in Memphis. There's so many other places for him that make sense besides the University of Memphis, USC, UCLA. They live there. Ohio State, the connection to where LeBron would have gone. Duke because of the Coach K stuff.
LeBron would have gone to Ohio State. Is that accurate? I didn't know that.
I believe so. I believe that was at the top of his list. So
why did I think back in the day he really liked Notre Dame?
No, I don't think no.
His high school is Irish.
You're thinking St. Vincent, St. Mary, where he went to school.
Maybe.
But regardless,
I'm sleeping.
There's so many more.
He could have Notre Dame up there.
There are a million connections you could make with a million different places before you got to the University of Memphis for Bronny.
And all right, I've said it a couple times. We know he's that good, and question his height before anybody does it. May have already at the AutoZone text line. Get in the zone at the AutoZone text line. Before you do it, go, well, Brett, do we know that Arch Manning's that good? It's a lot of difference between being number 1 at a recruiting site and number 60.
Yeah, there is. But I think by the time we get to,
he's not going to be number 1.
I don't think he's not going to be number 1, but I think he'll shoot up a little bit, and he may get to that 5-star ranking. There's a possibility.
He's had a really good Peach Jam. I've seen 2 games of his in Peach Jam. They were his worst 2 games. But he's averaging 16 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 5.3 assists. He's having a fine Peach Jam.
A 4:34:52 high hard one on this Friday. You ready?
Okay.
We need a breaking news sounder for just the out of nowhere non sequitur high hard one when we're not doing the segment.
I'll come up with something.
Who would you bet? You guys will see. You'll see the very end of all 3. Who would you bet on? Chuck Woods, Bronny James, or Arch Manning to be that superstar? Which one of the 3?
Right now, Arch Manning. Right now.
Chuck Woods?
That's tough, though.
Son of?
I'd probably have to go Arch. I think Bronny's going to be good. I don't think he's going to be the next coming of LeBron.
But we're also talking about teens.
Children.
Yeah, we're talking about guys that still have room to grow, still have a lot to learn.
A lot of life.
I think right now Arch is the guy you'd point to, though.
Arch also is the oldest.
But by next year, it could be Bronny.
Yeah.
By next year.
I would bet Arch as well for this more practical reason. Arch has 3 in his family that's done it. Granddad, 2 uncles. The other 2 just have 1 that's done it.
Yeah, well, it's a big one. It's a big one they have.
Gigantic.
Yeah, you can't discount that. But right now, Arch. But I'm not gonna do the Tiger angle of Bronny James recruitment today. If people wanted that, because I can't do that.
It was news to me when you gave it.
I can't do that. I will not do that. But I think Bronny's just fine, and he's doing a good job at Peach Jam. And by the way, Peach Jam is growing. Like Peach Jam, year after year has become it's a meeting spot for all talent evaluators.
No doubt about it. It is the convention of college basketball in the summertime. It matters. Whatever matters to you matters. That may not matter as much to me, but if it matters to you, then it matters. I hope all 3 of those young people, I hope all 3 blow the family legacy to smithereens that they're that good. I hope Chuck Woods wins 17 majors.
Right. I'm not rooting against.
I hope Arch Manning wins 10 Super Bowls. I hope Bronny's better than LeBron James. That'd be fun to see. It'd be fascinating to see. Mm-hmm. I'm pulling for all 3.
Now,
hope I can hang around to see some of it.
No, what I will talk about, though, is Frank Haith and Penny Hardaway, what they're doing. And also, I think when it comes to coach-assistant coach matchups, and like a duo going to Peach Jam, like they live for that stuff. Like they're in their element there. Frank Haith and Penny Hardaway.
That's formidable team.
But I will talk about who they actually have offered at Peach Jam, and that is a 4-star 2023 6-foot point guard Jalen Curry.
And that really matters.
From Charlotte.
A real offer.
Yes, and he's a 6-foot point guard from Charlotte. I think Penny at this point is trying to eventually. I mean, and obviously through the Alex Lomax days and what has happened these first few years, I think he's learned from the process of not having a point guard year after year that he wants to recruit that, and he wants to bring in a guy who he trusts in that role.
Alex Lomax had a nice Tiger career. It just wasn't all that it might have been built up to during the recruitment and coming out of high school.
He was just so loved, too, by the city of Memphis, and for good reason.
He was. It's not dissimilar to that of Joe Jackson and the experience that Joe Jackson had. Joe Jackson had a great career. 4-year player, a lot of fun on all the lists, points, steals, assists, all that.
And this shouldn't be that. This is not a hot take, but I think Joe Jackson's career better than Alex Lomax.
I do too.
By a pretty substantial
King of
margin.
Memphis.
Yeah, by a pretty substantial margin. But that doesn't mean Alex Lomax was a bad player. He had bad games, and there was times where I thought he was misused and used maybe a little too much by Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway, it was that trust blanket. He trusted Alex Lomax for better or worse, no matter how he was playing. But I don't think he's a guy that we should look back and say he didn't live up to the hype. The expectations weren't reached. I thought he was just fine.
I do not think it was unfulfilled.
He finally got to the tournament.
And won a game.
Yeah. And by the way, I know there's been some reporting done on this, and I know he's leaning out, but we don't have official word on Alex Lomax being out.
No.
Yeah. But it is leaning that way because also I think for Penny, Kendrick Davis coming in and Alex Lomax behind him, I don't know if Penny would find a big way to get Alex involved, and I think that would bother both of those parties, Penny and Alo.
It's Kendrick Davis, and he's going to be the 33-34 minute a game guy.
All right, so on top of the core, you got Acott, Williams, Davis, Keontae Kennedy if he does come along and he's a guy that they can trust. They're going to find a big at that point. They're going to insert a 5. But with Alo out, you're going to need another guy. I know Kendrick Davis is going to play big minutes. He probably will, but Penny has this tendency to go with the 9-man, 10-man rotation. That's just life. Who becomes the guy behind him? The name that has surfaced through all of this, he redshirted. He's a year older. He was a 4-star recruit. Jonathan Lawson has been sort of lauded as the guy who can handle the ball and sort of can play a combo guard type of style of ball behind Kendrick Davis.
I don't think there's any doubt he's going to be offered the opportunity. See what you have, whether foul trouble to catch a break to rest, if he's productive.
And he's not as big and long as Chandler is. So like he does have that ability, and people watching him in
that's going to be
high
a
school.
Good nugget to track next year. Just how many minutes would be too many minutes for Kendrick Davis? Because you got to have him fresh out there when it matters after that 4-minute media time.
You got to have him out there all the time. He's your main source of scoring. He's your main source of facilitating. You got to have him out there. What? You're talking about 40 minutes worth of basketball. He's going to have to be out there at least 28, 30. You have to.
I think that's the low mark.
You have to. Like, I don't think you have a choice. But you do have to have him out for some time. And when he's out, who is the guy that comes along and helps facilitate the offense? The name that keeps coming up is Jonathan Lawson.
I will track the minutes.
No, what's interesting, though, is we haven't seen Jonathan Lawson since high school. We don't know what the redshirt year was like. We don't know.
I'm kind of all confused on all the Lawsons. I can't keep it all straight.
Four of them. And know what's interesting? They all have, and I think there's some similar skill sets, but Jonathan is the outlier when it comes to skill set as far as being able to handle the ball and
as like he can.
He can a little bit, yeah.
I was always told growing up that he was the best out of the 4. Everyone always said Jonathan Lawson, the youngest, is the best out of all of them.
And that's one of the great things to do in recruiting when you have the brothers. Wait, you ought to
just wait till Jonathan comes
wait
on.
till the next grader. Is it the next one? Yeah.
And I'm afraid, I hope I end up being wrong, I'm afraid the best one was the first one in Diedrich.
Yeah.
Diedrich was awesome.
He was a good player.
And that's kind of a good game. Oh, you ought to see the 6th grader.
Wait.
But again, like Jonathan's
5'5" right now.
Yeah. But he's a different skill set than Diedrich or Chandler. Like it's not his. He's different. He's a different player. I don't know if he can really do the same things, really. But I think as far as being a wing,
it's hard to be a great rebounder when you're 6'6",
but also being a more wing-oriented player. I mean, that's not what we've seen with Lawson brothers so far.
No, we haven't. Gould Salon and Spa, they've been turning heads since 1932. Mr. Sam Gould, he had a dream to provide his clientele with a truly professional and unique fashion experience, and it's been realized as with a family affair. Sons, grandsons, granddaughters, all invaluable associates from a hair salon to today's juggernaut. And that Gould Salon gift card, it's the gift that you want. The perfect size, the perfect color, and perfect holiday gift. The best holiday gift for any season is a Gould's gift card. The best spa packages, salon products, and again, that gift card. It's the big hit. Go to GouldSalonSpa.com. All the different locations from downtown to Collierville, all points in between, part of the Renaissance of the square. You will be very pleased at Gould's, and they will make sure. You're talking about family. It's a family affair, and you're a member of that family. Go to GouldSalonSpa.com. 90 years of distinction and 300 associates making our area feel so good. My Gould style right now, it's the Mariners. going into tonight, going for number 15 at home tonight, late against the Astros. The Mariners aren't going to catch the Astros in the West, but they want to get to that 4 spot in the seeding. And over this weekend, I hope it's full in Baltimore. I hope it's full in Seattle.
Sell out tonight.
Oh, good.
How about that?
Deserving.
How about that? My Gould style for the week. It's watch list season. It's watch list season in college football. It's my favorite season. And Jacob Likes, the center for the University of Memphis, gets named to the Remington Trophy list. And you know what? This is a stat I came up with all my own. He continues the trend. He continues the sort of thing that's been happening at the University of Memphis. Last 4 centers. He's now the 4th in a row have been named to the Remington Trophy watch list. It was me, then Drew Kaiser.
You were a Remington watch list.
Also Outland by my senior year. How about that? I didn't come close. I got a vote, though, for the Outland Trophy, which was nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. I can always tell people that. It was me, then Drew Kaiser, then Dustin Woodard, now Jacob Likes. So shout out to Jacob Likes for being named to the Remington Trophy watch list. Let's go ahead and get to our final break of hour number 2. When we come back, you know what's going to happen. Brett and I, we're going to make the case. We want Juan Soto in St. Louis. Let's make it happen right here on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
It's time to get road trip ready, and we got it covered at Gossett Kia on the Pike. Let's get 41 MPG Highway in 2022 Kia Forte LSX, $199 a month. Pack some fun in 2023 Kia Soul LX, $248 a month. Both 36-month lease and $27.99 due at signing. And get 3 rows and 7 seats with 2022 Kia Sorento LX, $399. 36-month lease and $34.99 due at signing. And all Gossett Kias come equipped with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warrant. New adventures need a new ride. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
650 acquisition fee, 30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Forte, NE 492,084, MSRP 21,065. Sold P718,7730, MSRP 21,720. Sorrento, NG 137,060, MSRP 32,595. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8/1/22. Dealer stock only.
Hi, everybody. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlays, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events that let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. Have you been turned down by your homeowner's insurance in the past 12 months for damage you believe you're owed? Call Brian Elder Roofing now. Our professionals will do a no-obligation, thorough evaluation of your property and document all damage we find. Our fully certified Hague inspectors are trained to identify storm damage to assess and build a full estimate in a language your carrier will understand. If there is no damage found, we will tell you just that. We build a data file of your actual storm damage for your carrier, all at no cost to you, free. So call now for your comprehensive roof guarantee from Brian Elder Roofing. Call us. 867-0303. That's 867-0303. Or schedule online at brianelderroofing.com. Because if you think it's a claim, we'll help you show it's a claim.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
In the alley since 1948, the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see everything kind of getting back to normal.
Brett, we've done a lot of ads before, but maybe it's time for me to do a recap. We have valet parking at the end of our alley on Monroe. On Fridays and Saturdays, we give away our wonderful red beans and rice until it runs out. And you know we like to do things local. Miss Barbara Jackson of O Taste and See has been making these wonderful chess and pecan pies, that's pecan, not pecan, and key lime pies for dessert. And we just started serving this wonderful gelato from Sweet Magnolia Gelato Company. And just to remind everybody, you don't eat cheese and sausage with a knife and fork. You take a cracker, you put sausage on it, you put a piece of cheese on it, a little mustard or a little sauce, take a bite and chase it with the pickle. Brett, we've always been the place for all gatherings, whether they're corporate, rehearsal dinners, retirement parties, birthday parties, whatever. We seat anywhere from 20 people to 250 people. And oh, by the way, we are now open for lunch from 11 o'clock on Tuesday through Saturday. Come see us at the Rendezvous.
Hey Patriots, Colin Johnston here from DeSoto Auto Sales. And it's time to put the can in American, because this month I can help you get approved. It's the 4th of July all month long. That means it's time to break free from past credit mishaps. Even if you've been told no in the past credit problems are no problem for us. I want to help you break free in a nicer, newer car, because I believe everyone deserves to drive a nicer, newer car. That's why I drafted my For the People credit approval process. Plus, my solution specialists are the American Dream Team. They can get almost anyone approved. So stop driving a car you hate, because I want you to be approved and find freedom in a nicer, newer car today. You could even drive for little to no money down. But hurry, this dynamite deal won't last long. I'm Colin Johnston, your All-American dealer for the people. New rides are popping on the lot daily. See all my explosive rides at DeSotoAutoSales.com. That's DESOTO Autosales.com.
Credit and down payment require bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Offer absolutely expires on July 31st, 2022.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Bon appetit.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Papa was a Rolling Stone, but now I got Rolling Stones in the bezel. Ice. Mama and
all right, time to dream for a second on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He's
Dream
Stats.
Weaver on my iTunes.
Shout out. Juan Soto turned down a 15-year, $440 million extension from the Nationals, and most think a trade is on the way. Now we're talking about landing spots, and the Cardinals right now are sitting, when you look at, depending on what book you look at.
That scared me. I didn't know where that was coming from.
The Cardinals are anywhere from plus 700 to plus 850. That's the range they have to potentially land Juan Soto if he does indeed get traded. It's behind the Mets, the Yankees, the Giants, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the usual suspects.
I'm in a trance, Gabe. I'm sorry.
I guess so. I see.
When's it going to pick up?
Yeah,
it takes a while to get to the good stuff.
This is not very.
Well, I like it behind the Juan Soto news. It's a little ominous.
Yeah, it's not as. All right, I got you.
This is the good stuff.
There we go. Let's hear it.
That's what we're trying to climb over. We're trying to climb aboard the Dreamweaver train.
But the Cardinals are generally speaking like 5th or 6th in the shortest odds to be in the market to get Juan Soto. And I've thought about it. Yeah, it costs a lot. It's going to cost $500
more than
million.
It costs to build Busch Stadium.
It's going to cost
By
$500 million to go get Juan Soto. But who cares? Cardinals fans constantly complain, and we constantly complain about the front office not being aggressive enough. I feel like regardless.
That's what I've always said.
No, stop. Stop it. Stop. But constantly complain about the front office not being aggressive. This would be a step. This would be more. This would be 8 steps in the right direction.
Our friend Dave Matter from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch covers the Missouri Tigers. We had him on with us. I asked him, I said, do you really think it'll happen? He laughed in my face.
Of course he did.
He laughed in my face. He said, Brett, when do they ever do this?
Hey, there's a first time for everything, right?
In season. Now, we got Matt Holliday in season, got Mark McGuire in season. Trying to think of other blockbusters.
Was it Mo? Was that Matt Holliday? Was that Mo?
Yes.
Okay. That was the beginning of Mo. Very beginning.
Yes. For sure.
But who would you have to offload? Some combination of Jordan Walker, Dylan Carlson, Tyler O'Neill,
Tommy
who else? Tommy Edman,
Matthew
I guess.
Livertoire,
Yeah,
Michael McGreevy. Well, that's what the Nationals want. They want the top prospects.
Except for Tommy Edman. Didn't we just give them all our old Christmas decorations? Hey, let me give you the stuff we used in the 80s.
They have Lane Thomas, and they just picked up Ponce de Leon.
Yeah, so there's that. But it'd be some combination of all these young guys they have. But it's Juan Soto.
I want it so bad. I'll go back to a game this year. I thought I was done going.
Juan Soto would sell tickets.
I said a year ago on these airwaves, if I could start my team with one player from the game today, it would be Juan Soto.
He's 23. That's insane to me. He's 23 years old. And he's been doing this for, 3-4 years now?
I don't think there's a chance they make it move. Not a chance.
Who do you think ends up making a move? Some common Mets, Yankees, big payroll.
The big boys. Red Sox.
The payroll's going to go further up. $500 million what he's probably going to get on his next contract.
It's huge. I can't imagine.
Mm-hmm. Now that'll do it for hour number 2. Hour number 3 is on the way, and we start it. We usually get to it on Thursday, but we're going to get to it on Friday today because we were at SEC Media Days in Atlanta the first 4 days of this week. We talk with Greg Gaston next from Sports 56 Mornings and from the Tiger Sideline.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
It's time to vacation at home with Family Leisure. That's right. Enjoy a vacation in your own backyard with a little help from Family Leisure. Like play gyms and trampolines, they're now $500 off. And those trampolines, by the way, they've got that mesh on the side, so trampolines are now safe and you'll be the hit of the neighborhood. They've got hot tubs in stock and ready to go, and you can get up to $1,000 off when you pick them up. All kinds of do-it-yourself pool specials, like savings of up to $1,500 on all in-stock pools when you pick it up and install them yourself. And if you're looking for patio furniture, then stop on in, because they have tons in stock and they're ready for you to pick up. So get ready for that vacation at home with the help from Family Leisure. Family Leisure's Vacation at Home sale. It's happening right now at Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun truly do come together.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Is your air conditioning system struggling to keep up this summer? It may just need a tune-up. Good news, it's super tune-up time at Conway Services. We'll come out and perform our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-up on your air conditioning system for only $69. And if you have an air conditioner that leaks Freon every year, we'll include a leak check at no charge.
License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We've all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, that's not possible. There are aerial pictures that can be taken every 4 years that can be used to measure most buildings, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof, or even if you need one, looking at pictures that could be 4 years old. If you'd rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, give us a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best service we know how to give. 5 Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
First National Bank and Trust, with its roots in eastern Arkansas as a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, now firmly in West Tennessee. Eastern Arkansas's largest independently owned bank now in West Tennessee. First National Bank and Trust, with offices at 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, 901-498-5763, and in Collierville. First National Bank and Trust focuses on their clients in the Mid-South with all their banking needs: personal banking, business banking, and online banking, and the mobile app. Courage and confidence has been displayed by First National Bank and Trust officers throughout its history. In good times and in challenging times, First National Bank and Trust has been recognized as one of the most progressive banking institutions in the country. Commercial, residential, recreational, customers depend on First National Bank and Trust because they know real estate. 901-498-5763, and contact Brooks Winchester or any member of the First National Bank and Trust team.
It's time to take it on at Gossett Mitsubishi's summer sales event. You need a new ride? We Gossett covered. Don't fret about gas mileage on your summer vacation. Get 39 MPG combined with 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage, $219 a month or $17,015. Take sporty to a new level with 2023 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. 28 MPG combined, $349 a month or buy for $27,335. Plus, 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, 7 seats, $409 a month or $31,795. And get peace of mind with our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett and Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 months of 3.69. Mirage NH00 6956, MSRP 17515. Eclipse PZ 00747, MSRP 28085. Outlander NZO 78023, MSRP 32295. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax file and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8122. Dealer stock only.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
I couldn't believe it either, but that thing runs like new.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
My nail tech knows how to keep it a little secret. I don't wish for my success, I speak it. I caught a buzz and you did too, but you tweaking. I look like I've been getting money, how reeking. You smell me, that's LV. Walk around with my chest out.
Hour 3 is here on a Friday. Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He is Stats. Brian Dacus, of course, on the ones and twos, producing the program and joining us at 5 o'clock. Rescheduling from yesterday to accommodate our coverage of SEC Media Days. Very kind of him. It is Greg Gaston. He's from the Tiger Sideline. He's also from Sports 56 Mornings with Eli Savoy. He's brought to you by Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine. Greg, what's happening?
Thank you.
Hey, guys. Listen, thank you for all the great coverage from Atlanta. We appreciate you being on our shows and all the other shows. And great job. Really, really bang-up job by you, too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, Greg. You know what that week's like. It comes and goes really, really fast. There's a lot of fun news and fun takes. Greg, I want to start there. We're going to talk Tigers. Of course we are. And we know the Tigers' place and the Tigers' prominence in this city and on these airwaves. I am fully aware of it. In your opinion, who's second? Gabe and I in the break, we were talking about the diversity of this market. And you have to know and be on top of a lot of different teams and a lot of different sports. That we're not a one-issue town. The Tigers have a lot of prominence. I would rank the Tigers and the Grizzlies as 1 and 1A for what we do every day. But what's the area college team apart from the Tigers that you think's number one in this area for coverage and penetration and hits and clicks?
Well, first of all, it's a great question, and a question that I think I've debated over the years since I got here in '95 when I started in television, did so many years with Channel 24 and then on the Fox 13, we always debated that, right? Because there's only so much you can cover, and there's only so much time you have. And I can tell you from friends that I have in the city, I got Vols fans, I got Rebels fans, I got Bullies fans, I got Razorbacks fans. It's hard to break it up.
Complicated.
But I would think, I believe in my heart of hearts that the most fans represent Tennessee. But I think because of our connection with Ole Miss and the Ole Miss coverage on our station, the games airing on our station, I think it's the Rebels. So I kind of give the nod to the Rebels. Then I come back with the Vols. Then I go Hogs. Then I go Bulldogs. And, of course, you got a mixture of whether it be Alabama or LSU, Auburn,
Georgia.
fans, Vandy. I mean, they're all here. Georgia, they're all here. It is a melting pot city. But I would say, to answer your question, I would go, I think there's more Vols fans than even Ole Miss fans, but I think that Ole Miss kind of gets the lean because of our connection with the Rebels.
Yeah, and I would
proximity.
Yeah,
so much closer to Oxford than Knoxville.
But Vols definitely get coverage as well. I tend to agree with you there. And obviously, the Vols dealing with 18 level 1 allegations. You expect to see all that this morning.
Man, I had no idea because it didn't break while we were on the air. Then I went out and played golf in this heat, which is, I know, stupid. So I come back and I get ready for my appearance with you guys, and I read that and do a double take. Oh, my gosh. 18 level 1. Okay, you look at it and go, that's bad, and it is bad. But then look where we are right now, where players are making money. They're making millions of dollars. I mean, are you kidding me? We had a guest on today, Matt Babcock, who said that Oscar Tshiebwe will make $3 to $4 million this year at Kentucky.
Yeah.
$3 to $4 million, the basketball player. And so I'm thinking, okay, it was just bad timing for Jeremy Pruitt, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, 60 grand that's nothing.
Greg, to Oscar Tshiebwe, Anthony Davis says hi.
But I do have to get a kick out of I do get a slight kick out of the fact Tennessee self-reported so they could get Jeremy Pruitt out of a job, and it did nothing for them. They paid $1 million to a legal team, Greg, to represent them and look through this case, and it still landed them no Premier Bowl wins for their football program, and it landed them 18 level 1 allegations. It just shows complying with the NCAA does not mean you're going to get it off easy.
Greg, David Rudd tried to work with him and got sand kicked in his face.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's an answer. I mean, on the surface, you go, all right, you're getting rid of the problem. The problem starts with, in this case, the coach or the situation in other schools. Whatever the case is, you've gotten rid of the problem. You think, okay, you're going to get off easy. You're going to skate. That is not the case. They know what happened. Yep. They know what was happening when that coach was there. It doesn't matter that you're beating him to the punch and getting rid of the coach. And that's with Tennessee, as you mentioned, Gabe, that's a lot of money put into trying to do something to make the penalty a little bit easier on them or the punishment a little bit easier on them. But obviously, it falls on deaf ears right there. That's not going to help them at all.
Greg, next week, AAC Media Days, and a lot of focus will be on that league. The last year of this league like it's composed now, we've talked about how much we've enjoyed it as a football league and the Tigers' success in it. The Tigers are going to be successful this year. They're going to be successful going forward. But going forward, the Tigers, both in football and basketball, I think it's incumbent of them to be the bell cow, to be the top.
Well, there's no question. Look, Laird Beach he talked to the media yesterday in an event involving the University of Memphis, and they talked to him specifically about realignment and football, maybe not so much basketball. At least I didn't hear that they asked him a question about basketball. But point being is they know how important this season is, and Laird emphasized that. Important on the field. They want to continue in the right trajectory moving forward. Maybe they were a little bit more stable last year, but not really taking that step up that they've been doing each and every year. You want to continue to take steps in a positive manner. So certainly it's an important year for Ryan. It's an important year for the program, but it's also important because of the uncertainty of what's going on with realignment around the country. So you're trying to put your best foot forward, get in the best position you can, although right now with the latest news with UCLA and USC going to the Big Ten and maybe the Big 12 going after the Pac-12 teams, it doesn't look real promising right now. Mm-hmm. But for the immediate future, Brett, as you said, with Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF leaving, you have to be the bell cow.
Yep.
Memphis has to be the bell cow. They have to dominate in football. They absolutely have to dominate in basketball, which I think they will. But it gives them an opportunity, to be the kings of that conference. But let's be honest, that conference next year is not going to look close to what they've had. Cincinnati was in the playoffs, for goodness sakes, this past season. We know that Houston's a good program, especially in basketball. We know they're a good athletic department, and UCF certainly has had a lot of success there with football, and they haven't been a Division I-A for that long. So to lose those schools, to lose those programs, it really hurts bad for the American Conference. But for this upcoming season, Memphis, to take that step up, it's going to be a big challenge. The non-conference schedule with Mississippi State to open up is going to be certainly a challenge to go down to Starkville and try to repeat what happened at Memphis. But also, even though you don't play Cincinnati, you play Houston, you play UCF, there's tough teams all around. I would imagine next Thursday, with the media poll, that they'll probably have Cincinnati won, despite them losing a lot of talent, as you guys know, led by their quarterback, Desmond Ridder. But I would think it's probably going to go Cincinnati, Houston, UCF in that order.
I honestly think, though, looking at the situation right now, and I know what Luke Fickell is, and I know what he's done, and I know how good he is, I don't see how you couldn't have Houston won after what they have been the past few years, and they have a lot of guys returning.
No, there's no question. I would not be surprised if Houston was number one. But again, Cincinnati coming off the year that they had, they're still going to have a lot of talent. They brought in some talent with a pretty good recruiting class. But yeah, no surprise whatsoever if it's Holgorsen and Houston. They're on the rise. But I would think it will be those three. And then the question will be, after those three, is it going to be the Tigers or is it going to be SMU? I believe they would be the next two, and then maybe followed by Tulane.
Greg, way back at the beginning of the year, way too early predictions, I thought about Houston in this year's college football playoff. I don't think that anymore, but I did say that. And the reason why I backed off is that schedule. The first 2 weeks for the Houston Cougars at Texas San Antonio at UTSA. I don't know if they're going to be as good as last year, but that's a solid program.
Yes, it is.
And I know this offends people, but that will be their Super Bowl to play the bigger, more prominent school right there in their backyard. And then week 2, it'll be Houston Super Bowl when they go to Lubbock. UTSA, Texas Tech, the first 2 weeks, that will show you what Clayton Tune and the Cougs are made of.
That is a great start. You can go out and win those 2 games, especially knocking off a team from a Power 5 conference. And Clayton Tune is getting a lot of the accolades. I had a list the other day, and I'm not sure, you probably saw the same list, and I forget which periodical came out with it, but they had ranked every single quarterback or projected starting quarterback, and with some teams they had 2 because they weren't sure who would come out of the battle in August as the starter. But they ranked them all, and Clayton Tune was number 3 overall, not 3 in the conference, 3 overall. Yeah, he's got the physical attributes. He's big, he's strong, he can chuck it a mile. I like some of these quarterbacks, including Seth Hennigan, in this American Conference.
And that's what I was going to say. It's a proven year for Coach Silverfield and the Tigers in general. Coming off a 6-6 year, didn't get to play the bowl game, just uncomfortable year last year. Lost some nasty games down the stretch of the season. The running game wasn't going. But year 2 with Seth Hennigan, you've addressed offensively what you want to do. You have a new OC in Tim Cramsey. On the defensive side, you have a young, energetic guy in Matt Barnes. And not to mention all of the different transfers they brought in. Tyler Murray at linebacker, Jeff Canton-Arku at linebacker, Joseph Skates at wide receiver, Jay Ducker at running back. It feels like they saw a lot of the things that were done wrong last year, and they really tried to implement and change them going into this year.
Boy, you hit it on the head, Gabe. Last year, it wasn't the best as far as going out there and trying to take advantage of the portal, take advantage of recruits. Those guys, just for the most part, and I'm generalizing here, did not pan out. This year, they are very hopeful that these guys that they brought in, who have experience, not only experience, but they've proven themselves. You talk about Ducker. I mean, he had an unbelievable year playing in the MAC, and the MAC is a good, solid conference. These guys have proven themselves, so they're hoping that they will be difference makers for this Tigers team, because let's face it, the Tigers lost a lot of talent. When you lose Calvin Austin to the NFL, when you lose Sean Dykes, your prolific tight end who catches the ball out of the backfield as good as they've ever had, you got to replace those weapons. They feel pretty good about it. And on defense, I do like what Matt Barnes brings to the table coming from Ohio State. They got some holdovers, some really good players in the defensive secondary led by Quindell Johnson. You have Collins coming back as well at linebacker, but you have some
Greg
new
Rubin,
guys that are coming in.
Greg Rubin
Greg
looked really
Rubin
good in his freshman year.
Oh, my gosh, Greg Rubin, I thought, really stepped up last year. So I think with the guys that are coming back, with the additions of these transfers that are coming in with experience, as long as and you got to figure they're going to pan out much better than last year. It just didn't work out last year. And I think that will be a positive for this team. They feel that experience, having those guys, will help. It's almost like what Penny has done, although he went full throttle 100% transfer portal as opposed to the high school kids. And he's hoping that maybe that formula will work out on the basketball court. But for football, you're talking about so many different players that you're going to have a variation of the portal guys, JUCO guys, and freshmen that are coming in. And I know Coach Silverfield feels real good with those kids coming in.
And I know people, when it comes to, group of five college football, don't really pay attention to the recruiting rankings. Yes, Cincinnati does a really good job because they're in a fertile recruiting ground. The Tigers, even lately, when you look at what Coach Silverfield's done on the recruiting trail, I feel like last year, 47th, I believe, according to Rivals, which is the highest rated in school history, 49th so far this year. There is that hope of, okay, here in a couple of years, maybe these guys grow up. They will certainly be at the top of the conference, but obviously that's not proven. But they have done a good job on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, look, I am not going to sit here and pretend that I know all about these recruits. I'm not in the recruiting business. I defer to those experts. But they know what they're doing. Those guys know what they're doing, so they're pretty good. They're not always going to hit a home run, but they're going to hit a home run more than they're going to strike out. So they know these guys, and they feel real good about what Memphis has done and what they are doing this year. Every time you jump on Twitter, it seems like there's a commit to Memphis. Now, again, the proof will be in the pudding when those players come here, when they eventually play, and what kind of performers they are. But right now, I know Memphis is extremely happy with the way they're going out there and recruiting.
And you know what? I got to figure out what they're doing on those official visits that they weren't doing when I committed to the University of Memphis.
Called NIL, my friend.
Because my gosh, every time they did an official, they had 2 more commits. It was unreal.
We've got to come up with what Gabe's NIL valuation would have been.
Come on.
Ooh.
What
kind of business is? Well, right now it's
food.
$4 million. No, they would have
Central Barbecue.
They would have came around.
Food.
$4 million.
Not Corky.
$4 million.
We're not saying
$4 million. I would take $4 million.
Craig Blondis and Roger, they would have got you $4 million.
They would have hooked me up.
$4 million. Here's
Absolutely.
what you do, Gabe. If it's $4 million, hey, I'll debt settle at $2 million from the past. all good. Greg Gaston with us.
Yeah, real quick. I think Frontier Western. See, you put him in the boots, you put him in the hat.
I like that one.
Big Hoss Cartwright hat. Yeah.
Absolutely, he'd be perfect for that.
I love it.
Great. Look, Greg Gaston with us from our morning show with Eli Savoy, 7A to 10A every single day here, and also part of the Tiger broadcast team. He'll be on the sidelines this year. He'll be on the sidelines at Mississippi State on September 3rd. Greg, the state people at Media Days, the people that cover them, you had Brian Haydad on and others, they're ready for the Tigers. They're ready for the Tigers to come to Starkville.
Yeah, Brian, when he joined us, and really, really nice guy, and he said last year that maybe they took him a little lightly, and I know there's Tiger fans out there like, I don't buy that stuff, but let's say there's some truth to it, right? They took him a little lightly. They thought they'd come into Memphis, waltz out of here with a W. It did not happen. Memphis caught some breaks, but played an exceptionally well game. Let's not take away anything that the Tigers did because they got the W. But there is no excuses this year. Mississippi State, they're going to be ready. Those bells will be ringing, and they're going to be hoping to start off with a W. But Memphis, if they can go in there and knock off the Bulldogs in their home stadium, what a win that would be. That would be obviously one of the top wins for Ryan Silverfield and that staff, and what a great way to start the season. Memphis can get it done. So it's an important game. Obviously, it's only one. It's the first, but it's extremely important, I think, for both teams, but especially for State.
On that same token, we saw it happen last year. You started off on fire, beat Mississippi State at home,
leading
3-0, feeling great.
UTSA.
It didn't necessarily carry throughout the season, and I think that when the Tigers look at what they did at the beginning, they have to find a way. They have to find a way And you wonder if that UTSA, if it didn't go wrong and giving up that big lead. But you have to find a way to sustain success throughout the year, whether it's every part of the game. Defense came on at the end of the year, was not there at the beginning. Run game was there at the beginning, not there at the end.
It's all got to sync up.
It's all got to sync up, and there's got to be more sustainability throughout the year.
No question about it. As you know, Gabe, it is a long, tough, physical season. And they ran into that Roadrunners team, and they got out physical. And they came back and won and beat Memphis, and I think that really was a bad omen for things to come. And then the running backs and the injury to Thomas was critical. He got concussed twice in the season. He got a little case of the fumbleitis. That was bad. I think the offensive line weakened a little bit, and they had depth problems because they had injuries. They feel like they're a lot deeper going into this season.
And more healthy. Austin Myers last year, there was one thing, he was playing left tackle to start the year. When he got hurt, they were struggling to find depth week in, week out.
Yes, and you're right about the defense. There were times during games that they collapsed, and you saw teams just drive right down their throats. At other times, they looked fantastic. You've got to find more of that consistency on the defensive side, and hopefully that will happen with the scheme that Matt Barnes brings in. But, yeah, one win doesn't make up for an entire season if you struggle the rest of the way. But we know it's going to be an awfully tough start with a game in Starkville, and then you turn around and go on the road and play a team that runs a completely different offense. I mean, completely different offense in Navy, which has to be better after a couple of years that they have struggled. That's not Ken Niumatalolo. Usually he has a team that is ready to go, especially in Annapolis. So the Tigers, it is a daunting task, to say the least, before they even get a home game to play two on the road in Starkville and then in Annapolis.
Now on Tiger basketball front, Frank Haith, Penny Hardaway in at Peach Jam. And I really think that, I mean, those two coaches, I said it, as a duo, I think they are sort of in their element. They've been there, done that when it comes to Peach Jam. Now, they did offer Jalen Curry from Charlotte. My question, though, you know where my question's going, is Bronny coming to Memphis, Greg? What do we know? What do we know about Bronny to Memphis?
Mark it down. Bronny's coming to Memphis. Yeah, isn't it interesting? We had Adam Zagori on the other day, and he had the Curry story. And, I think that it's interesting that Penny watched him for at least two games that I know of, one with Frank Haith, one by himself. I don't know. I don't even know if Bronny will play a year in college. Maybe he'll play G League. And he's still a guy who many believe that has to get better to play in the NBA. But when your pop is LeBron and LeBron wants to play with him, he will be with LeBron one way or another. It will happen. The question is, will he play the 1 year in college? I think he probably will. I think it would benefit him. I mean, think about NIL deals that he can get. I don't know what Penny's looking at when he watches Bronny. Maybe he's just there because LeBron's there watching his son and other dignitaries, and really it's the game you really need to be at when Bronny James is playing. But it would be something.
It would, wouldn't it?
If Penny Hardaway was able to bring in LeBron's son. And one thing is for sure, nobody's going to work harder than Penny as far as the recruiting is concerned. You know, they may be able to outspend Memphis as far as NIL deals, like I told you, with Kentucky, with what they're willing to offer, what I've heard about DJ Wagner, that they may be able to get for DJ Wagner with the Drake connections. But, you know, Penny Hardaway, if he's zeroing in on a player, he'll be at least in the mix on whoever that player may be.
Now, that's not the Drake Bulldogs connection, is it?
No, that's the rapper,
Drake.
entertainer Drake. Yeah, there's that connection to Kentucky and the money now. He's now in. Gabe, you may know this better than I do. He's in some type of sports company that he has started, maybe apparel or whatever. But there is a connection. And I got to think if it's not a slam dunk for DJ Wagner to go to Louisville, where his father Milt is now an assistant coach for Kenny Payne, then you got to figure that Kentucky must be backing up the Brinks truck for him if he does come to college. And DJ will, at least for a year. So
Cal
you got to think that they're doing that
in the middle of another Wagner recruitment. Can you believe this, Greg?
Was Greg bringing up Drake on the bingo card today? Did we have that?
Yes, we did.
Okay, nice. So cross that off.
Greg mentioning Bronny, or I'm sorry, Drake, and Bruce Marshall mentioning lefty Larry Jaster.
We have that one. Did not have that
I was going to say the free spaces out there. If we had that one, we're pretty close. We're
Do
pretty
I win
close.
Something?
I don't know. I mean, we haven't got bingo yet.
Lunch next week, Greg. Promise you.
If you give me a live review of of Drake's last album, maybe we'll get the full bingo. You got it? You got anything for me?
Good luck with that, my friend.
I got you, Greg. Appreciate it, man.
You, Greg.
Thanks for
Have a
joining
great
us.
weekend. Stay cool.
Thanks, guys.
Watch that
You
golf
too.
course heat, Greg. Seriously.
I will. Take care.
You got it, man. Greg Gaston with us every week, usually on Thursday. He was so kind to accommodate us for our coverage yesterday of SEC Media Days, and we appreciate it.
And he's brought to you by Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by the good people down at 5704 Goodman Road. That's DeSoto Auto Sales. Go online and check out their website. Look at the beautiful cars at DeSotoAutosales.com. All those cars test-driven, checked out thoroughly, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll find that special car just for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you are treated like a member of the family by very kind, very courteous employees. Laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales, down-home environment. But at DeSoto Auto Sales, they care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. They know we live in a very busy world today and a very hot time of the year as well. Find that car you want. Test drive that car. Crank up the air conditioner. Get the credit approved. Get the paperwork completed, and you're out of there in 45 minutes or less at DeSoto Auto Sales. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
About 30 minutes left in the show and the week. Holler at us. Let us know what you think about anything we've discussed today at the AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Text us questions, comments, concerns. You can also watch us live and message us on our social, Sports 56 WHPQ, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. But with those 30 minutes, we're going to come back. We have to get to what's trending. We'll do that on the other side.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Spring has sprung at Dan West Garden Center with blooming annuals and perennials, trees and shrubs everywhere. It's important to keep your yard and garden healthy, so Dan West has a very knowledgeable staff to help landscaping to grass to garden care and create your dream garden. Dan West has beautiful flowers from perennials to blooming annuals, garden lovers, even heirloom tomatoes, and a wide selection of herbs. You name it, Dan West has it. With over 100 years experience, Dan West enjoys sharing gardening tips and taking your growing needs to the next level. Dan West, with 2 locations, 12061 Highway 64 in Eads and 4763 Poplar. Open 7 days a week. Make gardening fun and easy at Dan West Garden Center.
It's that time of year when you're going to find yourself in charge of planning some event. It might be a late graduation celebration, a baby shower, a tailgate. There's always something in the middle of the summer. And whenever someone is in charge of one, they always get the same things. Well, you can be different. You can get Sunrise. Sunrise on Jefferson, in coordination with Southern Table Catering, can bring the perfect breakfast or lunch to you and yours. Imagine how happy your people will be when they get something different. It's not just different, but amazing, fresh and delicious. Don't feed them lunchboxes. Feed them Sunrise.
It's time to take it on at Gossett Mitsubishi's summer sales event. You need a new ride? We Gossett covered. Don't fret about gas mileage on your summer vacation. Get 39 MPG combined with 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage, $219 a month or $17,015. Take sporty to a new level with 2023 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. 28 MPG combined, $349 a month or buy for $27,335. Plus, 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, 7 seats, $409 a month or $31,795. And get peace of mind with our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
75 months at 3.69. Mirage NH 006956. MSRP 17515. Eclipse PZ 00747. MSRP 28085. Outlander NZO 78023. MSRP 32295. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax file and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8122. Dealer stock only.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. Have you been turned down by your homeowner's insurance in the past 12 months for damage you believe you're owed? Call Brian Elder Roofing now. Our professionals will do a no-obligation, thorough evaluation of your property and document all damage we find. Our fully certified Hague inspectors are trained to identify storm damage to assess and build a full estimate in a language your carrier will understand. If there is no damage found, we will tell you just that. We build a data file of your actual storm damage for your carrier, all at no cost to you, free. So call now for your comprehensive roof guarantee from Brian Elder Roofing. Call us, 867-0303. That's 867-0303. Or schedule online at brianelderroofing.com. Because if you think it's a claim, we'll help you show it's a claim.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck? Do you have nightmares about your finances? Are you struggling to save for emergencies? Are you wanting to buy a home and not sure how to get the funds to do so? Well, it's time to get a handle on your finances with a personalized session with Nicasia, your money coach and certified personal financial counselor with Tate Enterprise. She is available to help you create your vision of financial freedom. It all starts by booking your session today at NicasiaTate.com. That's NAKASIA Tate.com.
At Vanelli's Deli, new summer menu items, roast beef sandwich, Italian chef salad, or my favorite is the chicken breast salad, gigantic bowl of lettuce, black olives, grated cheese, sliced mushrooms, green peppers, diced chicken breast, with ranch dressing, yum. And ask about Vanelli's Deli catering, family or corporate. Call today and ask for Charles at 901-754-2246.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
You drove it, you love it. What more do you need to know?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
30 minutes left in Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe Stats. I'm Gabe, he's Stats. Brian Dacus, of course, producing the program. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Hit us up before we get out of here for the week. So I saw this story about Big Ten and Kevin Warren and football players. They're having conversations this week, the football players with Kevin Warren, about giving athletes a bigger voice in the future and about improving a variety of benefits for players. He also spoke, Kevin Warren, with the leader of a players association about the possibility of having an independent group represent the players in conversations with the league. Mm-hmm. And this is from Sean Clifford.
It's where it originally started at Northwestern.
Yep, but Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford said the conversations with Kevin Warren this week have been positive, they've been collaborative, and they want to give the players a seat at the table. And I think as we get forward with players having more power in transferring and NIL and all of these different things, yes, the players need more of a seat at the table. They create a lot of things that happen, and this is overdue, no question. But the question for me becomes, okay, how long till this type of thing morphs into a full-on union? It's not a union yet. Let's not talk about it. They're just having conversations at this moment. But these are the beginning stages of how unions start.
Not long, but can it have staying power? Because unlike the professionals, you can be a professional for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. You're only going to be in college, and those guys are only going to care about the protection of the union while they're there. Once they move on, are they going to be that concerned about it? And the next crew may say, look, I don't like the deal the last group agreed to. The pros have some staying power because they stay pros longer.
Yes. And you're only talking about 5 years max of being at the college level. So I
don't know who's going to be the Kurt Flood of college football.
My first thought is, yes, like when it comes to unions and it comes to players having a seat at the table, it's way overdue. We've been needing to do this for a long
should have
time.
And could
now,
have.
When you actually talk about a union and its implementation at the college level, I agree with your sentiment. They're not there for a long time, so how much are the pros going to actually come back?
You
and
even
care?
get that with young players in the pros against veterans. No, I want it now. I don't care about down the road.
There are certain things that come with being in a union that you have to understand. Revenue sharing, you have to understand how to strike a deal. You have to pay dues. You have to pay taxes. You're gonna be taxed on a lot of the income you get. At which point, if you become a full-on labor source, and that's how you're considered an employee. So, I just wonder where this ends, because there's a lot of unintended consequences that athletes would have to face if a full-on labor force is created.
Yeah, and if you get hurt in your junior year and it looks like the senior year is going to go away,
now
how married to the union and advocating for it will you be?
And I kind of
time's not on their side.
Like, there's two thoughts for me. One thinks, okay, eventually they'll decide, okay, maybe we don't want to step into this space because now we're going to have to deal with paying dues, paying money on things we didn't have to pay money on in the past with NIL and everything else. And part of me says there's no way that this ends without being a full-on labor source and ending with a union. So I am very conflicted on if this ever does become implemented. I'm very torn up about how we go forward with something like this.
Can you believe we're having this conversation?
Well, yeah,
college sports.
I certainly can.
At a serious
this
level?
happened in Northwestern. This was Kane Coulter in what was it, 2011, 2012,
and was kind of dismissed,
completely
dismissed
as
as a crank.
Said this is stupid.
Yeah,
but now that they're making money off NIL, like it just seems like there's a lot of different things that people are bringing to the table.
All the pro terms they're there in college.
Yep.
Every one of them.
Like we said, who was it that hired a general manager recently?
Player personnel director.
Yeah. Well, they've had player personnel there
but
not in that way.
But they call him the assistant athletics director for something or another.
Yeah, but for player personnel.
Yeah.
but general manager is a different one, and I've seen that sort of come down. They've hired some different guys around the country at big name schools, more or less.
Gabe, I'm glad the charade's over. And
yes.
the pretense around.
But yes, I am glad the charade's over. But I just have questions about how they come together as a labor force, if they ever do come together fully as a labor force, all student athletes. It's just there's a lot of unknowns still.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's professional sports. I'm glad it's, hey, they're getting paid. They are, at least at this moment, independent contractors of the NIL space where they can make money off their name, image, and likeness.
What's the biggest questions you think Kevin Warren gets at Big Ten Media Days? What's he pressed on? And does he try to pull the Greg Sankey and make no news, just hit for singles, not any grand slams?
I would imagine that first questions are about USC and UCLA, but past that, it's about more realignment and expansion for the Big Ten.
And
what are your thoughts on Notre Dame? And if you could attract Notre Dame, what comes after that?
Will he be synced up with Greg Sankey on automatic qualifiers or mostly at larges for a future expanded playoff?
That's a great question. But he did the alliance was last year, right?
Yeah.
This is a hunch. This is a hunch. I have a feeling that Kevin Warren will be more. He'll have more respect for the lower levels of college football than Greg Sankey did, if that makes sense. Because Greg Sankey was not.
He was hurt 2 years ago.
His messaging was not about let's save what we've known in college football. It was about how can we morph, how can we move forward, and it's about the SEC and what we can do.
But remember how irked he was by one of the, and it is a lesser, the Ivy League almost blocking college football 2 years ago, and he's never going back to them having him kind of hostage
Ivy
again.
League's 1AA. They've never really had the crossover there. I mean, I bet the rest of 1A, like I have a feeling that the Memphises of the world, the SMUs, the Colorado States, the heck, even go lower than that when you talk about Louisiana Monroe. I have a feeling that Kevin Warren, the messaging will be a little bit more positive.
Messaging better, or does he really care?
I think the messaging, at least, will be more geared toward trying to uphold and help those type of guys, like Nick Saban's was. You remember what Nick Saban had to say about the rest of college football. We can talk about super mega conferences all we want, but what does that do to the little guys? I think Kevin Warren will approach it in that way.
On his messaging, does he really care, or was it messaging?
I think it's messaging.
Yeah, it is. I know this message today. I returned the vehicle to Landers Ford in Collierville, and right there at the railroad tracks at lunchtime, I decided to go eat, of course, at the Collierville commissary. And when I got there, Gabe encountered a couple of different people. One long-time listener and frequent caller and texter to these airwaves, really, really, really nice man that appreciated our coverage, and I thank him so much. He was complimentary. You saw Ole Miss couple that I knew, very same thing. We appreciate that so much, and we appreciate the commissary being part of our team and Landers Ford right across the railroad track being part of our team at SEC Media Days coverage. And I was ready to get to the commissary and get that great food. I started with the tamales today. Then I got to the sandwich, and I say the discipline was incredible, Gabe. I saved room for dessert and went with the banana pudding. I don't know that I talk about it enough, and I need to do a better job at that because it was outstanding. If you're craving an easier way to order the commissary, text commissary to 33733 for all that great food, all those appetizers, including the tamales, the barbecue nachos, smoked chicken wings, the cheese plate, dig into the ribs, get the shoulder or get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich, and get the ribs. Comes with all the sides, deviled eggs, beans, slaw, bread as well. You can order it by the pound, 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack. And the salad. Sitting across the table from me, I heard someone order the Boss Man salad. They're so good, and it's huge, a gigantic portion. It was packed. So fun today at the Collierville Commissary. The people, they speak. They know what's good, and they know where to go. Either location, the Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, 901-754-5540, or online at commissarybbq.com in Collierville and in Germantown. One more out of the pack, high hard one. You ready? Most impressive person you encountered at SEC Media Days.
Most impressive. Not that I really encountered, besides sort of walking down the hall and just giving him a head nod. But I really appreciate him every single time I see him talk in the public space. But Sam Pittman is so impressive to me. Not just you don't have to deal with a year sitting down. So they're trying to eliminate that, meaning any